Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I see the bad moon rising. I see trouble on the way. I see earthquakes and lightning. I see bad times today. Don't go around tonight, but it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise.
Magnificent desolation. Tranquility Base, Houston, guidance recommendation is pinged, and you're cleared for takeoff.
I see the bad moon rising. I see trouble on the way. I see earthquakes and lightning. I see bad times today. Don't go around tonight, but it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise. I hear hurricanes are blowing. I know the end is coming soon. I fear rivers overflowing. I hear the voice of rage and ruin. Don't go around tonight, but it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise. Don't go around tonight, but it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise.
I'm only human, and I'm just a man. Lord, help me to live and what I could be, and all that I can. Oh, show me the I have to fly for my sake. Teach me to take one day at a time. One day at a time. Sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking of you. Lord, give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Oh, yes, that is all, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. Lord, help me today. Show me the way one
Well, well, well. We are. Well, we should be. I guess live and kicking, right? Will we go with that? Yeah, let's go with that. So, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you are in this absolutely insane world that we live in. Holy moly. Insane. I mean, yeah, that does not even cut it anymore. It's beyond insane. It's beyond insanity. Just when you think the world can't get any worse. Nope. Give it a day or two and it does, right? Let me just sort my headphones here. There we go. So yeah, we're back again. Let me think. When was I on before? Um oh, when would it have been? I think it would have been the Bart Sabrell stream that we done with our English brother Sensum. And yeah, that was a great stream. Really enjoyed it and had a I mean the stream itself, when I first spoke to Bart about coming on again, he said, "Yeah, okay, I'll come on. Um, we'll do about an hour." Excuse me. And of course, we went about two, maybe longer. So I think Bart was enjoying it. So that's a good sign, right? It's not a good sign when they say, "Oh, by the way, that's an hour. See you later." And we went about the two, I think over 2 hours, maybe, or about that. Then after, in the, I guess, backstage, we chatted for about another 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and that was quite interesting. And Bart talked about how some of the work that he's got coming in the near future, which sounds really interesting. And he said he'd come back on again to talk about that. So he will, in the near future, be back on again. And who knows, maybe even sent some will be back with us, right? Of course, it was quite late in the morning. So, although with that said, we had quite a lot of people watching. And Bart is, let me think, what date is it? 21st. The 25th would be Sunday, I think. And my maths is terrible, shock horror. So I think, yeah, on Sunday, the stream that we done, it will be on Bart Sabrell's own YouTube channel, so you can check it out there. And I think he said as well he's on, is it Coast to Coast or Coast to Coast, if you like. I think it might be an American radio show. I'm unsure, but he said he was on that on Sunday night or Sunday morning. I recall hearing about it before, but the Americans, they'll probably know a bit more about it than me. Shock horror. So yeah, that was great. I enjoyed it. We'll get Bart on again, and what I'm going to try and do over on the original channel is get more guests on, so it's not just little old me cracking on now, right? And I think that would be great because it's good to get other opinions and offer a bit more than just myself. Totally bigging myself up now. So I think that would be great. And I see the Woodlanders here, who would be most definitely a great guest to get on. I recommended the Woodlander to actually the first guy that came in, Richard. So I think he's probably a new subscriber of yours. And I highly recommend people get subbed over at the Woodlander and really consider joining the cause, basically. I think it's a great idea. So good evening to the Woodlander in the Hood, right? A great name as well. I wish I'd thought of that. Although in saying that, I was quite... I mean, I'm not even sure why I took the name that I did. It's a phrase that my dad, my late father, would say quite a lot to me when I was like, well, what the hell's going on? What's this about? Well, hey, that's life, but not as we know it, right? He would he would say that. So I thought, well, it's quite catchy. It's a bit long, yeah, but I like it. So, and again, that's going back to 2019, about October. the end of 2019, and I thought, yeah, we'll call it That's Life, but not as we know it. And then, well, yeah, the rest is history. We went into 2020, and bloody hell, man, honest to God. So I can remember thinking at the time, yeah, I think we called it quite a good name, right? Because I mean, the world that we're in today, it's always not what you think. It's never what you think. It's never what you've been told. And some people think, well, is it in relation to, is it Star Trek or Star Wars? I can't remember. I think it might be Star Trek. And I've had people say before, oh, you're clearly a Star Trek fan. No, I'm not. I'm not a Star Trek fan, but there is a phrase similar in either Star Trek or Star Wars. Never been a fan of the whole sci-fi situation, to be honest. It's never. It doesn't float my boat. We'll go with that, right? So, good evening, Richard, and Carol is in the hood as well. A pleasure to see Carol back again over on the backup channel, which has been a bit neglected, possibly. So, I'm going to try and dedicate a bit more time to it. Over on the original, we're about 80, I think 84 subscribers short of the 6K. And I think in the past 3 months, maybe, and not even that, we've had about an extra 300 people that have joined. And it's like, holy moly. And they don't know what they're getting themselves into, right? Poor buggers. But there you go. So we're accumulating quite a lot of people. Whether that'll continue, I don't know. Really, it's irrelevant to me. The main thing for me is that I enjoy making the content, because if I don't, then I won't do it. As simple as that. It's not, when it comes to views, subs, it's pretty much, it doesn't matter. The main thing is that I enjoy making content, because as long as I do that, then I'll continue to put it out. And I still do, even after 4 years now, pretty much non-stop. I feel like I've still got the energy to keep going, touch wood, God granted, of course. So I'll keep going. I mean, there is certain elements that have annoyed me in the past. Excuse me. And it's not very often, but there's certain things, in particular YouTube itself, when the strikes and the terminations is one thing, but then censoring people who are either in the comments or whatever it may be, and then people try and say that it's me, that it's me that's doing it, and these people fucking piss me off big time. Honestly, if I was sitting next to them, I would be, yeah, they would be feeling my hands around their throat, basically. And I guess I shouldn't get annoyed about it, because I mean, that's the way it is. People really should know YouTube by now. They should know what they're like. I mean, have we not learned anything in the past 4 years? But yeah, that can annoy me from time to time. Even at one point where I considered just switching off comments completely. I thought, "Do you know what? Fuck it, I'll just switch them off, and then there's going to be no issue whatsoever." I thought that might be a good idea. But then when I thought about it a bit more, I thought, nah, I don't think that would be fair, because I mean, it's once in a blue moon that I get annoyed with somebody like that. Whereas the rest of the time, it's people who comment in a kind of regular fashion, and it wouldn't be fair on everyone else, basically, to take it away just because of some wee fucking idiot. So I thought, well, yeah, I'll just have to put up with it. But after 4 years, it does get a bit. It gets a bit grating when I mean, the cheek of someone to accuse me of censorship when I've been censored since day fucking naught. So it kind of grinds my gears a bit. But I'm not going to ruin it for everyone else. Because I think if I was to ask everyone, look, would you mind if I switched the comments off? They probably would. No, don't do it. So I'm not going to do it. I don't want to be the one who ruins it for everyone else when it's only a small handful of people who they clearly don't have a brain, basically. So there's no getting around that. There's idiots everywhere, and hey, everyone's got to learn, I suppose, right? I can't expect everyone to be as switched on, if you like, as most people here. So we deal with that whenever it comes. I mean, that's the way of it, right? So I won't be switching them off. The website's in a bit of a hibernation mode. It's still there to an extent. It's not quite. It's just not got even, I guess, the perks that it did have. But it'll still be there, and it might come back into the frame, if you like, in the future. Time will tell, right? Watch this space. I mean, I think I used it more than anybody, so I did like having it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I noticed there Toffee's in the hood as well, our Evertonian brother, who, yeah, we won't speak about football. Let's not go there, right? Jose as well in the hood, fantastic. Good to see you. Carl, Simon, DJ's here as well. Just of course along the road, the road even from me, in old Inverness, right? A beautiful place, Inverness, man. It really is. And you won't hear me say that often, but it is. It's in the summertime especially, a beautiful city to go to. I think it's a city. DJ might be able to correct me. I think it not long got city status. Maybe, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago. Probably longer, right? But Murrayshire and the Highlands are, I mean, people talk about the West Coast quite a lot, but hey, you've got to come up here, man. This is the place to be. In terms of beaches and beautiful scenery, you've got to go to the Highlands. You've got to go to Murrayshire. Forget about the northeast, and the the sort of Aberdeen side of things. Nah, don't go there. Forget about the central belt, man. It's like a fucking concrete jungle. It's yeah, it's terrible. I don't know how people can live there. That's me losing 20 subscribers now, right? Shocking. How could he? Of course, the whole of Scotland is beautiful. We'll go with that, right? Who else did I see? I think I might have got everybody. Oh, Toby as well. Fantastic. Good to see you, Toby. Great stuff. Tonight I'm going to show you a document from, I think, 2009. And when it comes to chemtrails and geoengineering, I think I've covered that extensively. I'm unsure if there's anybody else who's covered it in the way that I've covered it without blowing my own trumpet, right? And I can understand why people don't cover it. They don't want to be deemed a conspiracy theorist, or it's not good news, basically. It simply isn't. It's terrible news. It's fucking horrendous, actually. It's so bad. So a lot of people, they give it a wide berth, and I can understand that. But for me, I'm not going to let it go. So it's not going to go away, I'm afraid. I wish it would. I wish it would just go away and not fucking come back. Excuse me. But that's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. And I've been saying now for, I don't know, since probably 2021, that in relation to stratospheric aerosol injection, aka chemtrails, in the open, backed by the sheeple, it is going to happen. Guaranteed. And even maybe you might hear more people say that today, if it would be a small amount. But going back to 2020, 2021, when I said it, I kind of went out on a limb and I said, look, this is going to happen, man. The mirrors in space and all the fucking bullshit curtains in the Antarctica, that's a new one. Did anybody see that? Probably just me. They're talking about putting curtains around ice and separating the water from the ice. Yay! That probably won't happen. The mirrors in space, that won't happen. I mean, you can be guaranteed that won't happen. But stratospheric aerosol injection, that will happen. And the number one reason being, it's already happening right above us right now. And it was quite bad today. And it was interesting because there weren't many. I mean, I seen quite a lot of aircraft, but there weren't many long, lingering chemtrails. They were more what people would call contrails. And of course, people say, well, a contrail, that's okay. But is it though? But is it? I mean, it's debatable, really. Just because it doesn't linger and turn into a gigantic fucking chemtrail cloud does not mean that it's good, I'm afraid. And when I seen, I mean, I was out for about, when I'd went down to the Sensum store, which is Asda, of course. And I went into Asda's, and on the way back, I was only about a 10-minute cycle, if that. And I'd probably seen about 6 different aircraft in that short period, releasing what people would call a contrail. And it was quite cloudy, but it was a nice day, a wee bit windy, but all in all, a nice day. In fact, I was even going to cut the grass. I thought, yeah, do you know what I'll do? I'll cut the grass when I get back. So I got back home and tidied up the garden. The dog's tennis balls and all sorts of bloody stuff that had been lying, sledges and all kinds over the winter. And then when I got in the house, it got grey, just like that. It started greying over, and then then the rain came, and it did cut. Jesus, it came all right. It was quite bad, but it was only lasted for about, I mean, not even an hour, and then it kind of cleared up again. So it was quite interesting, very sporadic, I guess, which is not uncommon to an extent because we're heading into March and end of February, March time, and you do get the changing of the season, and it can be quite hectic. And I know that from experience of being, well, especially in the North Sea for about in total about 2.5 years, going back quite a few years, and I spent 2 Marches in the North Sea, and the weather was terrible, man. Honest to God, I can remember thinking, do you know what? I don't know if I'm going to make it. Tell my mum I love her. I'm not getting back, right? It's a dangerous job, man. Honestly, even in the bigger vessels, it can be quite dodgy. But I can always remember looking out the wheelhouse, being on watch in severe stormy weather, and you would see a wee fishing boat going by, and it's like, hey, what the fuck? This guy's insane, right? I mean, yeah, I think probably the most dangerous job in the world has got to be, I mean, you can talk about the military, but apart from that side of it, I think being on a fishing boat is definitely up there. Honest to God. I used to see them going by and think, bloody hell, they are keen, right? The things that we do for a bit of cash in the bank or to keep the wife happy. You've got to keep them happy, right? For sure. And when I think back to my time at sea, It would have been in between 2005 or 6 to about 2008, potentially. And mostly being a month at home and a month at sea, which is no good for anybody. Honest to God, I don't know how people can do it their whole life, man. I guess you get used to it, but I was not getting used to it. No way, no way. I was always very happy when I got back ashore and my feet firmly on the ground. That was always a great day, a great feeling when you're sailing home. Like fucking yes, get in. You finished all your work and you're just heading for the harbour. That was a great feeling. And they used to call it, what did they call it again? I think they had a name for it. The channels, they called it. And you would be pretty much buzzing without the drugs. You would be proper buzzing. And I guess because you were getting home, but not only that, you knew it would be the end of the month and you would have the money in the bank, hopefully. So a lot of seamen, they would get home, fucking blow their money in a weekend and then phone their work on the Monday. Is there any boats? It get me off. I'm going away again because no money, right? And we used to call it having a millionaire's weekend where you would just have about maybe say $3,000 in the bank and then blow it in a weekend and think, Jesus, how did I do that, right? So it's not a life, to be fair. You're missing half your life. Weddings, funerals, birthdays, the whole lot, stuck at sea. So I was never a big fan. But when I think back, I can never really recall. In about 2006, 7, 8, I can never recall noticing big, mad, massive, huge chemtrails in the sky. And I know people say, well, it started in the 1990s. But for me, it wasn't until about 2009, 8, 9, 10, where I started to notice them really bad. And I thought, nah, hey, this is not right. This is not right, man. I don't know how anybody can think that it's somehow normal or okay. It is not okay. And jumping back to geoengineering, when I first heard about that, I actually couldn't believe it. I thought it was like a joke, honest to God, because when they talked about stratospheric aerosol injection, I thought, well, yeah, that's fucking chemtrails. It's chemtrails, man. And it was so blatantly obvious that what they were a way to do or are a way to do is basically have the perfect cover for the already committed crime. And it will be all out in the open. And it'll be backed by the sheeple, because we're not quite there at the moment, but they're going to use net zero and they're going to use so-called extreme weather events to turn people's perception into wanting geoengineering. People are going to beg for it, man. Honest to God, mark my fucking words. People will be begging for it. Right across NATO-stan. And it will not be good. I mean, it's insane to think that we're going to get to that point. And we talked about it before. In particular, some expert who said, look, there's going to be events in the future. This is going back to 2021. He said there's going to be weather events in the future. And it's going to sharpen people's minds. Their little brain is going to be sharpened like a pencil. And he said what's going to happen is these extreme events are going to make people want geoengineering, because seemingly geoengineering can slow down the the global warming scenario, right? It can help us seemingly achieve the holy grail, which is, of course, net zero. That's the holy grail. And I think this year and even last year, we're heading that way, most definitely. Even when, I mean, extreme weather events is one thing, but there is also the whole wildfire situation. And I can't see that getting any better, to be honest. I wish I could. I wish I could say different, but I'd be kidding myself, man. It is not good news. This is why most people they don't like to talk about it. No, put Netflix on. Let's talk about something good. No one wants to hear the bad news, right? But I'm telling you now, it is bad news. And I've said it many times before. It needs to be stopped. God only knows how we stop it, but it has to be fucking stopped. It cannot go ahead. It simply cannot go ahead. And if I've learned anything in the past, the people that run the show, the powers that be, the hidden hand, the shadow fucking whatever, they are the most evilest, most satanic entities you could even imagine. I mean, you couldn't even fathom how insane these people are. I mean, look at what they've done. Look at history. Look at what they've done with their manipulated fake wars, killing, I mean, millions of innocent people year in, year out, right across the board. There's not even a word out there that would cut it to describe these entities. And people talk about them not even being human. I would not even rule that out. I couldn't. They are most definitely the evilest of psychotic entities that has ever graced this world. At least in at least in my lifetime anyway, right? And so I can't rule out them completely annihilating the earth completely, honest to God. I can't rule anything out, to be honest. The older I've gotten, the more that I've sort of absorbed, if you like, I've realised more and more that I don't know very much. I don't know anything, right? And there is a quote in regards to that. Like, the wise man knows that he knows nothing. And I think, well, yeah, that's me, right? That's definitely me. As each day goes by, I think, well, I thought I knew the world once upon a time, but I don't think I do. And I think that's where we tend to slip up quite a lot. We tend to think that we know the world inside out. But the likelihood is even, we know only 10%, if even that, of the world that we're in. Honest to God, there's so much being hidden from us. It would shock even me to my core, I'd imagine. And as more time goes by, I begin to learn that I can't rule anything out. I can't put weight behind anything anymore. I simply can't. Not that I could in the first place, but I mean, a lot of people point to Palestine at the moment, and they're clearly still watching the news quite a lot. Which, hey, that's up to them, right? But you can't put weight behind anything that's on there. You simply couldn't. The only way you could be sure about what's going on there is if you went there and stayed there. Then you might get an idea about what's going on. Until then, it's anybody's guess, to be honest. People talk about, what's the word? Genocide. I think we're seeing that right across the world, to be honest. And I think it's coming in many, many forms. And it seems to all be get into a boiling point, in my own view, which is going to be complete chaos. Let's face it, if not already. That's where we're heading. They're stuck in the fire of chaos at the moment, and there's many ways, well, many things that would point to that. What they're now creating is a cocktail for chaos, right across the board. And of course, I shouldn't laugh, but what did the guy Schwab say? Yeah, an angrier world. Yeah, I think we're heading into that. We are heading into it. So tonight we're going to look at, like I said, a document from 2009, and again covering geoengineering. I've probably done about over 100 hours in total, over that, talking about geoengineering, weather manipulation, when did it start, where did it come from, blah blah blah, the whole lot. I mean, it would be, I lost count long ago how many times I've covered the topic. I'm not going to give it up. I'm not, and I'm not at the end of the day. I'm not like, I'm only going to do what I feel I need to do. I'm not going to be swayed in any direction. Oh, well, you should do this, you should do that. Because I remember even going back to 2020, 2021, someone had said, well, if you if you don't talk about chemtrails and if you don't talk about geoengineering, you'll get millions of subscribers and you'll get millions of views. And I thought, well, no. And to be honest, it only made me want to talk about it even more. I thought, honestly, people don't know me. They really don't. I'm not here to get 1 million views or 1 million subscribers. I couldn't care less. What I could care about is doing what I feel is right. Because if you do what you feel is right, then you can't go wrong. Simple, all right? Write that one down and remember it. So good evening to Toby, the beautiful Justine in the hood as well. Great stuff. A pleasure to see you. I hope you're doing well, and I hope your family are doing well as well. Obviously, a lot of people have got issues with family, and in a medical sense, and I'm seeing that here in Elgin as well. A lot of people. I actually overheard. I was in a charity shop the other day, and I was sort of lugging in. Shocking, right? I was being nosy, but to be honest, I couldn't help it. They were right behind me, basically, in a charity shop, quite a small one, and it was two ladies in there, maybe a bit older than me, 40, 45, possibly, and one of them said, "Oh, did you see my mum?" And the other lady was like, "No, what is it?" "Oh, it's her eye. Her eye's really bad." And I'm sure she said it was like shrinking. She had this serious issue with her eye. And then the person was asking her, "Well, what's wrong with it?" And the other girl said, "It's because of shingles." And she's now basically going to lose her eye. And I thought, I wonder what that could be down to, right? I mean, it's horrendous. And like I was going to say there about the Palestine, when it comes to genocide, it's right across the board, man. And you don't have to watch the news. Get out there into your own community and you'll see it. It's fucking heartbreaking, man. Even going back to 2021, when not long after the whole treatment came out, almost every other week, I would overhear someone saying, "Oh, so-and-so had a heart attack." Or so-and-so died suddenly. Every other week without fail. And I kept thinking, oh no, man. Honestly. And I so wished that we were going to be wrong. That Dolores Cahill was going to be wrong. that Dr. Vernon Coleman was going to be wrong. I could have begged for them to be wrong. But they were right. They've been right all along, man. And we are now in a seriously fucking dire situation. Honest to God. If you wanted to make a bit of money, open up a funeral parlour and you'll be a millionaire by next year, man. It is horrendous at the moment. They're on about building a new cemetery here. It's filled up now. It's filled right up. And that's basically been, I mean, a good chunk of it lately. But that kind of filled up. It basically got built when I was born, a couple of years after I was born. And now it's full up. And they're going to have to build a cemetery outside of the town that I'm in. And the council are looking at a plot of land to get it built. And I can only speak for the community that I'm in. It is fucking really, really bad. Really bad. And a lot of the people, they don't get it, man. They don't even get, I shouldn't laugh, but they're scratching their heads, wondering what's going on, what happened. I mean, what do you say to these people without them looking at you like you've just grown an extra head? Surely a lot of them know, right? I mean, they've got to know. Honestly, it's staggering, man. And I know through other people, it's not just here. It's right across the board. In the UK. The heart attacks, the blood issues, the sudden deaths, man. Just out of the blue. Oh, he was fine one day, then he was gone the next day. Yeah. I remember hearing one guy who, he died on the golf course here. Healthy man, in his 40s, just dropped dead on the golf course. And I had overheard that again. It was a lady speaking out and about that I overheard it. Check me lugging into everyone. But I really wish that I'd never ever heard this stuff. But it's there. If you go out into your community, you will hear it, guaranteed, man. You don't have to put on the TV to see it. You don't have to read a book, watch the news, go out there. If you don't believe it's happening, you'll see it, man. You will hear about it, if not already. If you've not heard about it already, I don't know where you've been. But maybe I should go there. Unfortunately, we're in a critical kind of situation. I mean, people talk about how, and this kind of dawned on me a couple of weeks ago. People talk about eugenics and, how could I put it? The creation of a race, basically. A race of people. And I kind of wonder, well, it's not going to be the juiced. It's not going to be them who've been juiced then, is it? Because a lot of them, they're not going to be here. It's not going to be the people who fall for anything at any turn. It will not be them. They won't last very long. So who will it be? Is it going to be us that's left? Are we, in turn, the people they want to create? I mean, again, I could not rule that out. People would laugh at that and think, oh, don't be stupid. But when you really think about it, who's going to be left over? Who's going to be the one that's left standing? And I think we're at this very moment being put through many, 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 many different tests and obstacles and hurdles that we need to jump, that we need to pass. Even at the moment, the whole immigration situation, when that heats up, who's going to be left standing from that? Is that another battle that we're going to have to go into? It's an interesting one, but I know where I'll be going. I'll be getting out of the big towns and the big cities. I'm not going to be here for very long in this city, if I could call it a city. More of a small town, to be honest. About a population, well, it did have a population of nearly 30,000. It's been dropping, but they've been capping it. It's not capping it. They've been accommodating for the people that have been lost by taking in immigrants. And now I can't go anywhere in Elgin without seeing an immigrant, to be honest. So, yeah, that's the way of it. It's not the way I want it to be, but it's the way it is. So, yeah, I don't know what the plan is for wee towns and cities like this, because I don't think the majority of Indians, they're not going to like it. They will not like it here. Fuck, the people that are here don't even like it. It's a kind of it's a very ancient town, and it's not for everyone. So the immigrants that are here likely won't be here for long. They'll probably go to the bigger cities, Glasgow, Aberdeen, even maybe down to England. But I guess this could be their first port of call, if you like. So good evening, Justine. I hope you and the family are doing well. Martin as well in the hood, 30,000, yeah. Well, I'll have you know that Elgin's got a cathedral, so it is a city, to be honest. So there you go. Even though it's got a small number of people, in reality, it is a city, because a city has a cathedral, which Elgin does, and it's had it for about 1,000 years. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. What t-shirt are we wearing there? Not Wolverhampton. I'm going to have to put you in a timeout. You can't be supporting Wolves, man. But there you go. Takes all sorts. I'll let you off, Martin. Budgie Burger in the hood as well. A pleasure to see you back again. Who else did I see? Wolfie. A great name, right? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. And I think... Oh, Joni, even. Where did she go? There she goes. Joni Rotten. Mrs. Rotten. Or Miss Rotten. I don't know. In the hood, right? Maybe Ulix's about in the background. And our English brother Toffee in the hood. Who again, yeah, supports Everton. I guess someone's got to, right? Someone's got to. Fantastic. So let me see if I can share my screen. He was born in Wolverhampton. To be honest, I quite like Wolves. So yeah, you're all good, right? I like the badge and I like the name. And yeah, not a bad team, let's face it. My English team is the Gunners, and I should be watching them just now. But I'm here spending my time with you wonderful people, right? So there you go. Where did I get to there? You've got good neighbours. Yeah, hey, do you know what that I've always said? If you get good neighbours, then that's half the battle in life. Because if you've got a bad neighbour, fuck, it's not good. Your life can be hell. I know a lot of people here who they've had bad neighbours and they hate their life, man. They dread going home and they dread coming back from work. They don't want to bump into their neighbours and all kinds of things. But I'm quite lucky. Throughout my life, I've had one awkward neighbour in a street that I stayed in quite a rough part of Elgin. Well, the whole of Elgin's quite rough at the moment, but yeah, he was a complete dick. I mean, the whole street hated the guy, to be honest. He was like an alcoholic who everybody hated him. He was so aggressive and he was always beating up his wife and I just hated the guy. And I was quite young at the time. So we used to throw stones at his window and stuff like that because he was a dick, man. But yeah, I mean, there was quite a lot of alcoholics there. It's quite a beat up part of the town, unemployed and high drug and alcohol rates. But you would even there was one alcoholic guy who he was great. He spoke to everyone. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't abusive. Sometimes you would have to pick him up and take him home, but he was a great guy. But this other guy in particular, I don't know what was wrong with him. He was really, really aggressive, and yeah, we used to give him quite a hard time as well. Maybe it was because of that, right? My older brother in particular, he did not like. They hated each other, and they would always shout at each other in the street. And that's going back to it would have been about between 1995 and 1998. And it feels like a different world back then than today's world. Tonight I took my son. Excuse me. I took my son to my youngest son, Billy. I took him to his disco at school. He's 9 years of age at the moment. And yeah, I remember that, going to discos at school. Who can remember that? Who's got a as good as memory as me? Mine wasn't even that long ago, to be fair. But yeah, I remember thinking back. I loved going to the disco at school. It was like once every year. I think we only had one a year. And I always liked it from about the age of 9. When I was a wee bit younger than that, I wasn't keen on it. You had to get all dressed up and you was shy and you didn't want to dance. But then as you got older, for me in particular, it was more about the women. I couldn't wait to see if I could get a dance with the girl of my choice, if you like. Yeah, especially from about 9, right through to when I was about 12, and then after that, it was a bit like, nah, I'm not going to discos anymore. I don't do discos now. I'm bigger than that, right? I'm better than that now. Of course, at that time, I was 12, 13. I was still interested in women, but I was also more interested in trying to get into a pub or a club or I guess drink and drugs and what have you. Uh, I think a thorn in my side at that time was having older brothers. So I was always trying to be maybe older than I was. And of course, I thought it was cool. I thought it was the cool dude. But it was a big mistake. Smoking and taking drugs and what have you, getting drunk. It wasn't a good idea. But I guess we all learn, right? We live and we learn one way or another. So, yeah. But it was nice to see my youngest son quite excited about going. And I was winding him up about getting a girlfriend because he gets all shy about it, which is quite funny. But I had to take him there. Then I had to pick him up. So I had to go right into the school when I picked him up. And that's always weird in a sense where your mind goes back to when we're at school, and you know the tiny wee tables and everything's like miniature, and you just get all these memories come flooding back to you. Yeah, it's interesting. So I think he enjoyed it. He's 9. He's going to be 10 in this May. And I think, oh man, where's the time went, man? Honestly, I can remember cutting the cord. Felt like yesterday cutting the cord. Has anybody done that? Cut the cord for your son or your daughter? It's bloody weird, man. The second time I'd done it, I thought, nah, I'm not doing that again. It's like cutting off someone's finger. Honestly, I've never cut someone's finger off, but I reckon that's what it would be like. It was such a weird feeling cutting the cord, and I don't know. I don't think I could do it again. I won't be having any more children anyway, which is kind of mixed emotions. But I feel like I don't. I mean, I've been through a lot with my kids and their health. So me and my wife basically are in the same boat where we think three kids is probably enough, to be fair. But there's always this part in the back of my mind that says, have more children, have more kids, right? Just basically because the world we're in today. But I can't see it. I really can't see it. I did talk to my wife about, well, it was an idea, basically. I said that, hey, maybe I should just donate or sell the sperm that I've got while it's still good. Hopefully, is it still good? I think it's still good. And she said, "Nah, that's not happening." So yeah, that shot it down straight away. But I thought, well, it's maybe an idea. It might be an idea. I don't know. I think we are, in regards to, I guess, white males like me, we are fast becoming few and few. And I find that heartbreaking. So maybe I can change my wife's mind and say, look, nope, I'm donating sperm. I'm donating it, right? It would probably end up in the fucking bin, to be honest, but I don't know. Maybe one day we'll when they're grown up a bit, we might think, yeah, let's have another kid. But I can't see it, and I wouldn't like to do that to my wife because her body's been through quite a lot, and there's been issues in the past which could have been in relation to having birth 3 times, and so I wouldn't be. It wouldn't be fair. I don't think it's all right for me. I don't have to carry it for 9 months and give birth to it, but yeah. So to be honest, if I did have to do that, I don't think I would be having any more. But with that said, my next door neighbours had about 8, and I think they're even on to, yeah, I think they've had 7, and they're on to number 8 now, and it's like, what the fuck? Holy moly! How do they do it, man? Honest to God, I joke with my neighbour that he's trying to create a football team. It's like, when are you stopping at 11? So you can get a full squad, right? But he comes from a family who they all have quite a lot of kids. So that's quite interesting. His dad had a lot. His dad, his granddad, and his brothers as well. They've all got like fucking 1 million kids. So I don't know if it's just sort of in your DNA, that sort of thing. But I did overhear a girl at college. We were talking about kids that we had, me and another lady. And she was talking about her daughter who unfortunately couldn't have children. And she was it's always kind of haunted her a wee bit, which I think it would. It's kind of heartbreaking, that. But then a younger student, she had been asked, oh, will you have any children? And she actually said, well, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I don't think I'd want to bring a kid into the world that we're in today, and pointed to climate change. And I thought, fuck, So that's where we're at with that sort of stuff. People don't want to recreate anymore. I mean, talk about digging your own grave, man. That is what we're doing. And I've said it many times before. The doting sheeple, the doting human digs its own grave. Honest to God. And we sleepwalk right into it. That's what we're doing at the moment. So I guess I better show you this document. Where's my coffee? I'm unsure how many documents I've showed in the past. I mean, it's got to be into the hundreds now. And we've covered weather manipulation, weather modification extensively. And I've pointed out quite a key fact in that, in my own view at least, is that one of the major players in weather modification is anybody going to take a pop? Has anybody been listening in the past? And a lot of people, when I tell them about it, they're like, "What? It can't be them. They're not anything to do with weather modification. Don't be silly." But of course, they've not looked into it. When you look into it extensively, there's one big major player that you'll see, and they'll always be there lurking in the background. And of course, yeah, HAARP is a big part of it, even though, yeah, we closed it down. It doesn't operate anymore. We've covered HAARP quite a lot as well. I've done a numerous live streams on HAARP. And the entity that I'm pointing to in particular is, of course, NASA. Yep, you heard it. NASA. Are they not a space agency? Of course, they're not a space agency. Far from it. If anything, they're a weather company. Oh, we've got the 77th Brigade in the hood. Great to see you. Have you ever been to the British Museum in London and viewed the Elgin marbles? I've not been, no. But I noticed it was in the news recently. I think they're talking about moving them. Of course, it's not related to Elgin, the town, if you like, or the city, because it is a city. Even the football team is called Elgin City. But of course, they come from, it's Greece, right? And they got taken to the UK by a guy called, I think it was Lord Elgin. And I think now they're talking about putting them back to Greece. I guess you could say they stole them, to be honest. So maybe they should go back to Greece, right? I wasn't. I hadn't heard about the Elgin marbles until I was in my mid-20s. Up until then, I had no idea of what they were. I thought it was like a bag of marbles that you played with as a kid. But yeah, it's quite interesting. It's basically ruins that they took from, I think it might have been a temple actually. And the guy took them back along with other items that he basically stole from Greece. He took them to the UK. And I'm sure I read something about it recent where they might be putting them back. In the museum here, it's quite an interesting one because there is a mummified body, and I think it's is it Peruvian? A Peruvian mummy, and it's bloody weird, man. Honest to God, it's bloody strange. It creeps me out, but I always look at it when I'm at the museum. Let's go and see the mummy, right? And it's in like a big sort of bell-shaped glass container sitting there. A total real mummified person. And yeah, it's bloody weird. I don't know how many museums I've got an actual mummified person, but yeah, it's a bit strange. The museum here it's fascinating. I've mentioned it before. I'm sure I've done a stream on it. We might get into that again. It's quite an interesting museum because what they've seemingly got there is some of the first recorded fossils of animals or some sort of creature. And they even got examined by not Aldous Huxley, but his dad or granddad. And I've got a book on it that I got from the library that I've yet to read. In fact, it's overdue. I'm going to be getting arrested. Where's that book? So I'm not giving it back until I've read it, so they can wait, right? Because I need to read it. And of course, Huxley, the granddad, he was sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but he was like the best friend of Darwin, Charles Darwin. And it's quite interesting that they studied these so-called fossils that are sitting right here in Elgin in the museum. I mean, talk about a small world, right? And yeah, that would be getting into the whole evolution side of things, which, I don't know. I mean, like I said at the very start, I can't really rule anything out, but I think even Darwin himself was a bit unsure about evolution. Well, I don't think it works. There's a lot of missing parts to it, right? Shock horror. Nick as well in the hood. Good to see you. Yeah, they stole quite a lot. Bloody Britain, right? Raided the whole world. Yay! Take it all. Take it all. No wonder people hate us, man. I mean, they do. They hate Britain. They genuinely do. And they're fucking letting all these people in that probably hate us. Yeah, that'll be great, right? What could possibly go wrong? I mean, the politicians of the UK, if it was up to me, they would not see the light of day. And that is being polite, honest to God. They would be, if I told you what I would do to them, I would get a strike or probably even arrested, to be honest. That's how strong my views are on the people that have sold us out, because they have, most definitely. And I won't get into a mad rant about that because we'll be here all day. We've went about an hour already. So yeah, it's good to see everyone. Alphabet Cat in the hood as well. Where did he go? There he goes. Yep. Yeah, it's a theory. Indeed. Yeah, I wouldn't put any weight behind it. But then again, I wouldn't put weight behind anything, to be honest. A lot of talk at the moment about the whole simulation theory. That's going to be gathering steam, right? Honestly. People are adamant we live in a simulation. Yeah, you reckon? Go and jump off a bridge and see what happens. See if you respawn at your house, right? I mean, yeah, but... And I've said it before, there's many different theories and thoughts to what we are, what the world is, what life is. And that'll continue. It will not stop at a simulation theory. Mark my words, there will be more after that. Oh, well, we've got a new theory now. The super simulation theory. And it'll continue to go on. And as that happens, we get pulled further and further away from, I guess, true reality, whatever that is. I think even today it's unknown. At least in my view. That would be my view on it. Streaky Bacon in the hood as well. Where is he? There he goes. Good to see you. Oh, Scotty as well. I think Scotty is, I noticed the other day, subscribed, I think, in 2020. So pretty much from the beginning and still here, right? Unbelievably. So thank you, Scotty. I don't know how you've managed it, but you're still here. And yeah, I'm chuffed to say that we have still got people who, when they first joined in the beginning, they're still here today. How I managed that, I don't know, but hey, we keep going. We keep our heads high, right? Never in fear, never in doubt. So yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long road, right? I feel like I know you quite well now. Yeah, it's been a long road, and we keep going, most definitely. Kari as well, long term, and Justine, long term. Quite a lot of people who joined in 2020, because I think the channel gained a lot of subscribers then during the whole scamdemic, and it's only recently picked up more than it has since then. And what I'll do is the next time I'm live on the original channel, I'll show you a screenshot of what I'm talking about, and you'll see what I mean, right? And I think it's because of the strikes we got and the warnings that we got. The channel basically got shadow banned, I think you might call it. And I think that's been, I guess, released to an extent. And the subscriber base is shot up again. But in like a 2-year period, it was fucking minimal. It was basically next to nothing. And I'll take a screenshot and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Don Browning as well, fantastic. I've not got my phone to make anybody a moderator. Because I think I need to make more people moderators here. So I might try and do that towards the end, right? If I remember. So what I'll do is I'll jump out the chat. A pleasure to see you, Don. I think in Australia they're going into, would it be the end of summertime? Whereas here we're going into spring. And I love it. The daffodils are coming out. The birds are mating. Well, I think they are. They're definitely singing. And everyone kind of gets a wee bit more of a spring in their step. I think January, February are terrible months for everyone, man. Honestly, it's like everyone has this dark cloud hovering over them through January and the most of February. I'm sure there's a day in February that is noted for the highest amount of suicides in the UK. Someone might be able to correct me on it, but I'm adamant I read that before. And there was actually a lady in a town beside me, Lossiemouth it's called. And she went missing the other week. And then they found her car. And then I think 2 days later, they found the body. And I think that would have been suicide. I think she was in her 50s. And as far as I'm aware, out of the blue. Heartbreaking. It's more and more common now. I can't remember ever hearing about it when I was growing up, but now all I do is hear about stuff like that. People getting fed up with life, man. Honest to God. It fucking breaks my heart, that. Even young people. People younger than me. It's bloody heartbreaking. I remember hearing my dad talking about a young guy who committed suicide. And my dad saying, I wish they could have just took me instead. And I thought, fucking, what are you trying to say, like? But of course, he was pointing to the fact that this guy had his whole life ahead of him. My dad had, in his mind, lived his life. So I can understand where he was coming from. But it's getting too common. Way too common, man. And it's not just, it's people of all ages giving up on life completely. How we change that tide, I'm unsure. I mean, it's like a tidal wave at the moment. And I wouldn't... There's a lot of elements at play. So many. But the whole climate change fear, the war, all that, I think that plays a big part in it. Because people think, well, what's the point? The world's going to fucking end in a week. That's the kind of view they've got. They don't see a future. They don't see a tomorrow. Breaks my heart, man. And it's not going to get any better with the news that we're about to get into, I'm afraid. So I hope everyone's doing well, right? As well as can be in this crazy, crazy world that we're in. Yikes, honestly. You've got to kind of, I want to say live in hope, but more than that, You've got to find stuff that makes you feel good. You can't continuously dig out stuff and read stuff and look at stuff that is not good news. Honestly, and watching the news is not a good idea. The best thing to do is not watch it, switch it off, stay a million miles away from it. Honestly, it's I always recommend that to people that I bump into, and when I realise they've been watching the news, right? Oh, did you see that on the news? I don't watch the news, to be fair. I'm always about 10 months behind it. I do read quite a lot of media, but I will not sit and watch it. I mean, it fries your brain, man. Honest to God. And they put it on a loop. So, I mean, if you sat and watched it for an hour, you'd be programmed. Honest to God. They've got, I would see the media, they would be lined up along with the politicians. That's how much I think of them. Fucking line them up as well. Honest to God. These media moguls and even some of the presenters, man. they would not be getting away scot-free. They just wouldn't. Not if it was up to me, man. So let me see if I can remember how to work the screen. I should have it there. Where's my coffee? So we keep going. And we don't live in fear. What is fear? Exactly. We don't entertain it. And we keep going no matter what they do, no matter what they throw. Let me see if I can make it bigger. I've never said that before. Would that be the one? We'll go with that. So, here's lots of good news. Yeah, it's not. Now, unbelievably, in this document, there's a list. I shouldn't laugh, but there's a list of benefits and risks. But in my view, they're all risks, man. Not one of them is a benefit. Not one of them, honest to God. But this is the world we're in. And this is in 2009. So how many years ago was that? Calculator. Answers on a postcard. Certainly not yesterday, right? So let me see if I can read the bloody thing. I'll have to jump out the comments. Why is it fucking tiny? I'm on the wrong screen. That would help, right? That would help. So we're sharing. Sharing is caring, remember. So the benefits, risks, and costs of stratospheric geoengineering. What is that? Well, it's chemtrails, I'm afraid. When they talk about SAI, they are referring to stratospheric aerosol injection via an aircraft. Is that not chemtrails? Yes, that is chemtrails. Exactly. I thought that was a conspiracy. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people think that, unbelievably, but there you go. So, yeah, it comes out of 2 universities, or 3 maybe. New Jersey University. What is it? New Brunswick, New Jersey. Are we going to go with that? We'll go with that, right? And it came out and submitted for publication in Geophysical Research Letters, May 2009. Yikes. And there's quite a lot in it. If we've got time, I might mention some of the other stuff. But in particular, we want to be looking at the risks and the so-called benefits, excuse me. But in my own view, there is no benefit. How can there be any benefit to it? I mean, there can't be. You would have to be insane, completely bonkers to think there was any benefit. This cracked me up as well. I put it in the thumbnail. This image here. I mean, look how doom and gloom it is. This is some of the ideas they've got. Oh, fuck it hell. I shouldn't laugh, or I really shouldn't. Do you know one of their ideas is to build the biggest tower in the whole world, like the Tower of Babylon, and then put it on the equator, and then fill it with fucking toxins and puff it out 24/7. Yay! Oh, I mean, what a great idea that would be, right? Honestly, that is genuinely one of their ideas. And of course, the aircraft. Yeah. Look familiar? I bet it does. And then that's not a balloon blowing up, by the way. That's a balloon releasing aerosols, and the blowing up is artillery, because that's an idea as well. Well, we could just fire shells into the air. I mean, honestly, imagine it. The insanity of it. Yeah, we'll just fire a fucking million rockets into the air. And then we can block out the sun. Hooray! We don't need the sun anymore. It's a conspiracy theory to think that you need the sun. Sit down. Don't be stupid. Right? And look out for that, by the way. You heard it here first, when someone will say, well, we don't need the sun, actually. Sure, let's go with that, right? But yeah, that's, I don't know who drew it. I mean, hey, I'm not good at drawing anyway, but it looks like it got drawn by a 5-year-old. Honest to God, it's so doom and gloom. I mean, what is that there as well? It looks like a bloody mosque. Yeah, we'll release balloons from the mosque. It does. It looks like either a mosque or a, what's the Jewish one called? We're going to get anti-Semite stamps now. Is it a synagogue? Would that be the word for it? So there already is 4 actually. Bonkers ideas like firing off shells into the sky. Yeah, that would be great. I mean, honestly. Where do they get these ideas from? So we'll just shoot stuff into the sky. We'll release balloons, yay! And we'll build the Tower of Babylon. And we'll release aerosols from it and put it on the equator. That's the idea. They want to put it on the equator and build the biggest tower known to man and just puff out fucking toxins into the atmosphere. I thought that was the problem to begin with. Yeah. Well, seemingly it was, right? But of course, they're going to fix the problem with the problem. Yay! How we laughed, how we cheered. I mean, it's complete insanity. Honest to God. And it's quite funny as well, because they talk about the toxins, the pollution, the motorists, all this, and then they refer to it as actually cooling the planet. And if it hadn't been for the pollution that's been put out already, we would be even in a worse situation today. So I mean, it's complete insane. Honest to God. It's like, well, I thought that was the issue. Now you're saying that it's been helping? Oh, me. Where do you begin, right? So that's a few of the ideas. We've covered some of them, and that's just a small amount of them, to be fair. But it really does make me laugh, man. These wee balloons, these wee hot air balloons. Yeah, psh, psh, psh. Of course it's nonsense. Although I wouldn't rule out the tower, and I wouldn't rule out the fucking firing missiles into the sky. But when you get right down to it, it's this. This is the one they want to put out. The aircraft aerosols. Which, of course, is already happening. Look outside. Look up. You'll see it. It is already happening. Hence why I say it will be the perfect cover for the already committed crime. And when they do go ahead with it, chemtrailing and the conspiracy, or the so-called conspiracy theory of it, will be a thing of the past. It'll be forgotten about. Oh, it's just It's not chemtrails. It's geoengineering now. It's good stuff, right? Yeah. uh, I shouldn't laugh, but I remember it would have been about maybe 2022, and I was talking about geoengineering. And I think I done a live stream, and then after it, someone came on in the comments, and they were one of these uh what is it? QAnon. You know the QAnon crew? I mean, people thought I was mental. Fucking hell. You've seen nothing yet, man. So I put it. I'd put this. I'd just finished the stream, and then someone came on saying, "Look, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the chemtrailing because what they're spraying is good stuff now. It's good stuff, and it's going to help people. It's not bad. It's good." And I thought, fucking hell, how far gone do you have to be to think that, man? It is. I mean, I thought I was insane, but I can tell you right now, no matter what they are spraying, it will not be good. And we're already seeing it in the people, in the sky, in the ground, in the rivers, to the sea. It's killing just about fucking every single thing. So how can it be good? It can't be good. And this comes from the same people who think that Trump is a good guy. Honest to God, don't even get me started, man. And they have this attitude where they basically say, look, sit down, don't worry, you can sit on your hands and do fuck all. We've got it under control. There's people behind the scenes and they're good people. Yeah, well, where are they then? Look at the world we're in today. And it's run by good people? Fuck me. I'd hate to see it when it was run by bad people. Honestly. It is not run by good people. Otherwise, we would not be in the position that we're in. No way, man. But we're here. I mean, we are in a terrible state of affairs. And the brass neck, the cheek of someone to actually come out and say that these people are good? Yikes. Honest to God. Stop the bus. I need to get off, right? I'm leaving. Beam me up, Scotty. So, yeah, that's where we're heading. We're not far away now. I think they've actually already got. I mean, they're already doing it, don't get me wrong. But in relation to in the open geoengineering, the aircraft are pretty much there, waiting. There's contracts being talked about already. So I reckon maybe, I hate to say it, but we might even see it by the end of this year. All out in the open. Stratospheric aerosol injection by 2025. You might even see a wee balloon. If you do see one, shoot it down, right? I wish I stayed in America. I'd have every gun known to man. I'd be shooting them all down, man. As soon as I got a chance, they would be getting shot down. Yeah, they don't have guns in Scotland. If they did, we'd have probably took out the government by now, to be honest. They seen what was coming down the line, right? No, we need to get rid of guns. You can't have them here. The Scottish are mental. Yeah, well, if only they were. If only they were. So we might come back to that in a sec, but I want to show you, it's this list in particular. Oh, why has it done that I want to show you? Now, we won't go to that yet. The benefits, yay! Hooray! What possible benefits could there be? I wonder. So the first benefit is to cool the planet. Right. So that's a benefit, seemingly. To who exactly? The whole planet? Has the whole planet got a temperature? I mean, it's not. It simply hasn't. How did they even get the planet's temperature? I mean, boggles the mind. There's simply not a planet temperature. There can't be. Because it's different everywhere you go. And at the moment here, it's bloody freezing. So if they want to cool it down, what does that mean for the places that are already cool? Are we going to freeze to death, man? Is that what they want? I shouldn't laugh, but I mean, we don't need that. It's cool enough here. Even in the summer, it's fucking cold. So how is that a benefit? Who does that benefit? Maybe, I guess if they said, well, look at the droughts in Africa. Yeah, so we need to cool that down, right? Because, yeah, of course, the Africans. And they've even talked about chemtrails being, well, not chemtrails, but geoengineering being, it would never please everyone. And they talked about it in the sense of what they will do is they will rob Peter to pay Paul. So someone's going to lose out. And you know what? It's all going to coincide with chasing people out of different countries and fucking forcing them into another country. And that'll be climate immigration due to spraying, guaranteed. And we are heading in that direction. If people think that immigration's bad now, fucking hell, just you wait a few years and then you'll see it accelerate, man. Because I wish I'd be kidding myself if I never thought this. But it's heading in that direction, going by what they've been saying, going by the documentation they've been putting out, going by what the World Economic Forum Global Risk document says. We're only at the beginning. They're going to drive people out of these. I mean, it's got, if they're referring to cooling, it's got to be, I guess, Eastern countries, African countries that are going to be paying a price, if you like, and they're going to be driving people out. I mean, it's already in the motion. It's already in motion. They're all fucking fleeing, coming to the UK, Ireland, Scotland, whatever it may be. They're not stopping anywhere. They're coming straight here. And it's being allowed to happen. It's being accommodated by the people who are meant to be protecting us. Honest to God, man. So I reckon we're kind of only at the beginning. So reduce or reverse sea ice melting. Right, reduce it, reverse it. Reverse sea ice melting or reduce it. And that seemingly that's a benefit. I mean, I find it quite funny because I'll tell you why. At what point did these people get made God of the world or God of Mother Nature? They are not. They have no right whatsoever thinking they can change the weather of this planet or manipulate things like the sea and the ice, if you like. Because I can tell you right now, they will do that at our peril. It will be a gigantic mistake. Honest to God. They are now in the process of messing with stuff that is going to fucking seriously backfire. Guaranteed. The world has a way of working. And the way it's going, you could say it's in a cycle, I guess. I wouldn't rule that out. We can't change that. We shouldn't try to, but they're going to. And it'll kick back. Mark my words, it will kick back. Interfering with it is not going to be a good idea. It simply won't be. But they're going to use their technology to try and do it, by the looks of it at least. They always kill more than one bird with the one stone. And that is geoengineering's no exception. It's got many, many things that are going to come out of it. So there's 2 benefits already. Cool the planet, reduce or reverse sea ice melting. Right? Because we done that? Yeah, all that driving to work. Yep, all them deodorant cans that you used, the Lynx Africa in the 90s. Look at what you've done. You melted the ice. Yeah. Nothing to do with their technology, but you done it. We done it, right? Yeah, the doting human. Quick, geoengineer the skies and save the planet. Yeah, don't hold your breath on that one. Reduce or reverse land ice sheet melting. Right. So the ice melting again. And as I mentioned before, they've got an idea now where they can put giant curtains. Yep, a set of curtains. They're gonna put a set of curtains in the sea. You know, the ones you put at your window, right? Well, think of them at your window, but in the sea. Yay! And then we stop the ice from melting, seemingly. And I mean, that won't have a reverse effect, right? Thinking that you can somehow put a spanner in the work and think that it'll be all good. It won't be. You do not mess with Mother Nature, because when you do, you get bitten. Put it that way. Reduce or reverse sea level rise. Yeah. Because that must be us. We must have done that. That must again be all the deodorant, all the driving to work. Look at what you've done. The sea's rising now. Fucking hell. And of course it's comical because they blame us. In my own view, when it comes to sea fluctuation, that's probably a natural thing. It's probably happened. I mean, I doubt it's even rising. But if there is, then I could only point to that being a cycle of the earth. It's probably happened before, and it'll probably happen again. But it won't be us that have fucking done it. But they put that onto the sheeple's mind. Oh, well, look at what you've done. New York's underwater now. We talked about that before. I think it was 50 towns or cities that would be underwater by, I think they said 2050. I'm sure London was on it. Oh, well, hey, it's gone anyway. Fear not. I guess the problem is, where are they all going to go? They better not come up here. Fucking, they can forget it, right? And maybe that will be the case because, I mean, they're building houses up here like there is no tomorrow. So what do they know? You could say, well, it's the immigrants are going to fill it. Yeah, but I mean, they're building even beyond that. It's quite insane. When I was growing up, there was a lot of fields and farms that I used to play in. They're all gone now. The whole lot of them are gone. My whole childhood got fucking erased, basically. And I shouldn't laugh at that, but it's like, holy moly. I now walk my dog along sort of housing estates that have been built only in the last 10 years. And there used to be fields, cornfields, carrot fields, woodland areas, all gone. The whole lot gone, man. And they're not stopping. It just keeps going. They keep flattening the fields out. And they're going to build more and more and more. So if you want a house, come to Elgin, right? Do so at your peril. Don't do it. Hey, it's not. I guess it's not that bad, but it's heading in a bad way, to be fair. I can't kid myself. So, reduce or reverse sea level rise. Yeah, who was the one that parted the sea again? What was his name? Was it Moses who parted the sea? Is he back now? Is that who they're pretending to be? Moses? Or would it be, what was the god? The Greek god? Poseidon. I think Poseidon as well was the god of the sea and the god of earthquakes. And he sounded like a fucking terrible person. Whereas Moses, I don't think he was that bad. I think he might have parted the sea and then put it all back again. Poseidon, I don't think he was a good guy. I'm sure it's Poseidon because in the military base beside me, unbelievably, they've got a fleet of aircraft, surveillance planes. They are. And they're called Poseidon. You could not make it up, honest to God. The god of earthquakes, the god of the sea. They've named aircrafts after this Greek god. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but how obvious can they get? I mean, he was the god of earthquakes, I'm sure. Is that what these aircrafts are capable of? Can they create an earthquake? I wouldn't rule that out. Because we know about the guy Tesla. He made an earthquake machine in his house. Who's ever done that before, right? A broken washing machine, maybe. Yeah, that might do it. But yeah, it was quite an interesting story, that, with the guy Tesla. He seemingly made an earthquake machine in his house. And it was like it sent an electric pulse, if you like, just shooting down to the ground. And it caused the ground to shake. And he done it from his home, and the building shook. And seemingly the neighbours were phoning the police. Fucking phone the police! The whole building just shook. And it was the guy Tesla. He had made an earthquake machine. I mean, what sort of frame of mind would you have to be in to even go there to do that? Was Tesla even a good guy? I don't know if you could be a good guy if you're fucking trying to make technology like that. I wouldn't say that was a good person, to be honest. I mean, surely you would have to know in your mind, if you were that smart, that to create such a horrendous bit of equipment, if it ended up in the wrong hands, we're doomed. And of course, Tesla, what did they do? They stole all his stuff when he died. So it did, if he did create it, it did end up in the wrong hands. So I can't rule out, in the past they've been mocked and laughed at. Oh, they can't make earthquakes. Yeah, you fucking reckon? People need to get out more. Of course they can. The technology's there. So I wouldn't rule out the Poseidon aircrafts having capabilities of achieving such a thing. Quite insane, but that's the world we're in. Let's face it, right? It is insane. Increase plant productivity. What, by cooling the planet down and blocking out the sun? I'm confused as to how that can happen. I mean, that can't happen. It would decrease plant productivity, and it already is doing it because they are already spraying, of course. And that's we're seeing that already. It gets talked about at college quite a lot. People having issues with stuff that it's not growing properly. Yeah, I wonder what that could be. Fucking scratching their heads, wondering, well, what's going on? Yeah, well, they've poisoned the sky. They're blocking out the sun. And they've poisoned the soil. Hence why nothing's fucking growing like it should. If at all even growing. So how can that be? I mean, that is a complete lie, that, big time. Increase plant productivity. Fuck off. Geese peace, man. Honestly. Absolute bullshit, that. Nonsense, man. What, by blocking out the sun? Increase terrestrial CO2 sink. Do we know what that is? It's in the kitchen, right? Yeah, it's the sink in the kitchen. The CO2 sink. Yeah, it's, I guess, I probably couldn't explain it, but yeah, the CO2 in the atmosphere would probably be a way of putting it. In the world as a whole, even. Taking it down or increasing it. I think increasing it, even at the moment. So that is seemingly what they call benefits of geoengineering. I mean, how can it be? How can any of them be benefits? The plant productivity, that could be a benefit, right? But it's not happening. It's the opposite at the moment. And I know that through experience and through, I mean, I'm studying horticulture at the moment, and there's big concern, massive concern actually, about the way, the issues that people are having with growing crops and growing different plants, and how they're not growing like they should. And people are scratching their heads like, what the hell's going on here? Yeah, I wonder, right? I wonder. So that's the so-called benefits. Let me jump back, excuse me, before we check out the risks. I mean, fuck, you'd think it couldn't get any worse. So we're still going. We might go 2.5 hours by the looks of it. We've still got people here. Simon in the Hood, the Woodlander. Yeah, they're never quite sure in what they want to do, right? You've just got to go with the flow, I guess. Good to see you. And Justine as well. Yeah. What are you trying to say? They can control the rain? Yeah. I've had that before with what was it? Hurricanes. Oh, don't be stupid. They can't control hurricanes. Right. Sure. Why not? Right. And Budgie Burger, it's under the kitchen sink. Yeah. I think so, right? We'll go with that. It's anybody's guess, to be fair. Yeah, we're still going. Burying CO2. Yeah, well, they're definitely talking about burying carbon. So that's, I think they're already in the process of it. Oh, we can store it underground, and it'll be great. There won't be any terrible effects from it. It'll be great, right? I think already in the UK they're talking about pretty much storing it underground in big tanks, I think. That's another fucking bright idea they've got. Trump's uncle supposedly got Tesla technology. I don't know who Trump's uncle is, sorry. Wait, he's got an uncle? disowned by his family, right? Of course, his mother's side are Scottish, which is kind of embarrassing. But I always wonder who's got this technology. I kind of dread to imagine what kind of technology they've actually got today. I think it would blow my mind. Gone in an instant. When I think about the Twin Towers and how they got taken down, I dread to imagine what technology they used for that, man. Unseen technology. And we'll get into that. And I will be getting a guy on, hopefully. Maybe two. And we'll be talking about the Twin Towers. I've been looking at that quite a bit recently. And it's hard. It's always hard. It's kind of traumatizing watching it. It really is. These buildings that, I mean, as far as I can recall, it took 4 years to build one tower. Then it came down in 12 seconds. Gone. Not only came down, but turned to dust. I mean, it's kind of blows the mind, to be honest. Ulick is in the hood as well. Good to see you, Ulick. Did I miss anybody else? I think we're all good. So, the risks. Yeah, let's have a look at them. I better move the comment because sometimes I forget to do that. Get the comment down. I've done that before and people couldn't see anything. One of these days I'll get it right. Wait a minute. Look at John Trump's history. Yeah, I might do that. I'm kind of neck deep in a lot of stuff at the moment, but yeah, I could have a look at that. Yeah, good stuff, Robert. Good to see you. Dawn as well. My veggie garden is thriving, mind you. I've never seen chemtrails. What, you've never seen chemtrails? Book me a flight. Where is it you stay? What's the address? I'm fucking on my way, packing my bags now. Right, come on. Get that stuff packed. We're on our way, Dawn, right? Wow, yeah. I wish I'd never seen them. Yeah, it's interesting. They seem to only be getting seen over the more populated areas of what I and others refer to as NATO-stan. So you might stay in an area that's not deemed you're not good enough to be chemtrailed. It will go with that, right? Yeah, that fucking sounds like a place I would want to be. Honestly, when you see it constantly, it kind of drags you down. I don't know if maybe that's just me, but it does. It bloody bothers me, man. And I'm always looking out for it. Like, there the fucking bastards go. Wishing that I had a rocket launcher. That'll teach them, right? But it's not just one. It's the next and the next and the next. And it's constant sometimes. Day in, day out. And it ruins the sky. And I love a blue sky. A naturally blue sky. And we'll expand on that a wee bit now. So yeah, I'm actually glad to hear that, Don. I'm going to book my ticket. I'm going to go onto the airline's website just now. There we go. Booked. Right, end stream. See you later. I'm off ski, as we say in Bonnie, Scotland. Yeah, I don't know if I could leave Scotland, to be honest. I kind of set on being here my whole life. Sounds a bit sad, that, doesn't it? What, your whole life? Yeah, pretty much. Rather than, I don't know, I mean, I always feel that rather than abandoning ship, I'll go down with it. A good captain goes down with his ship. And I kind of see it like that. I'll fight until my very last fucking ability. And I'm not going to give up on Scotland and the people to an extent. As much as I want to get out of a populated area, I don't want to leave Scotland. So you're all right, Don. I won't be knocking on your door anytime soon, right? But yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind. And I always think that about other people who leave their country behind. I think, well, fuck you, man. Why have you ditched it? And why are you not standing up and fighting back? Why just fucking run away from it? And that annoyed me with the guy Mark Segan. And people, he was going to be this, he was going to be that. But I always felt that you don't run away. My dad always said to me, whatever you do, do not run away. It might be the wrong idea. Maybe running away is the right idea. But I feel like if a person like Marx, who was looked up to by lots and lots of people, does a runner, do they all do a runner? And if that's the case, who's going to stay and fight? Nobody, man. And I always felt if you are in a position of power, you need to lead by example, man. You've got to. You have got to. And people say, well, they were going to kill him. Well, they would have made a martyr out of the guy. And we're all going to die one day, right? Fuck, none of us are going to live forever. And of course, the fact that he ran away, you could never prove if they were or if they weren't, I guess. And to be honest, I don't think they were, because if they were, if the hit was out on the guy, then he wouldn't be about today. Because I can guarantee you, they would have a better chance of killing you in Mexico than they have of killing him in Australia. And in fact, they would probably get it done cheaper in Mexico. So I kind of don't buy that, but hey, each to their own, I guess. But for me personally, you don't run away, you don't back down, and you lead by example. Especially if you claim to be this person who, in the case of Marx Egan, he was looked up to by many people, and even when he ran away, and people said, "Well, he's not running away." Fucking, if that's not running away, then what would be running away? What would be running away? Flying into space? What, moving out to Mexico's not running away? But I got several people emailed me saying, "Oh, I can't believe Mark Segan's ran away," and they were seriously disappointed. And I could understand it. He was a guy they looked up to. He was like a hero to people. Then all of a sudden, gone. And I could understand the disappointment. And there's a lot of mixed views on Marx. I don't know. I kind of want to like the guy, but I don't know. I'm not sure if he's a guy that we can trust, although who is a person that you can trust these days, right? I mean, is there anybody we can trust out there? Answers on a postcard, right? So, let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the risks involved. That, of course, that was the benefits we just seen. The benefits, yeah, sure. Why not, right? Let's call it benefits. What time are we at? We're on the 2 hour mark. Yeah, will probably be another half an hour. I'm afraid to say. And my coffee went cold. Typical, right? It says it heats up coffee for 4 hours in this cup. And we're not even 2 hours and it was cold. I want my money back, right? Shocking. That's the last time I buy one of them super duper thermal cups. Load of shite. I guess maybe I should have had the lid on it, but it's like a kid's cup then. It's like a sippy cup. And you can't get a proper drink from it, so I tend to lose the lids as well. In fact, I've bought 3 now because I keep losing the lid for it. And now I've lost the lid again. Typical, right? One of these days, we're going to get it right. So, the risks involved with geoengineering, in particular, stratospheric aerosol injection. Hooray! Wait, is that chem? Yes, that is chemtrails. So, we kind of alluded to it in the so-called benefits. Number 1 in the risk category, drought in Africa and Asia. Right. So this could lead to climate immigration, which is, of course, in the World Economic Forum Global Risk Predictions. So my money would be on this is going to happen. And it will be in the process already. And the people who are affected from it, guess where they're going to end up? Yeah. You guessed it. They're going to end up here. Continued ocean acidification from CO2. Right. Because, of course, when you spray toxins into the sky, day in, day out, time after time, hour after hour, day, night, week, month, what do you think is going to fucking happen? You're going to poison every single aspect of the planet, including the sea. Because, of course, what goes up must come all the way back down. And it will destroy the ocean. It already is destroying the ocean. In a heartbreaking way. Truly heartbreaking. There's another one they talk about where they're talking about, I'm sure it was iodine, how do you say it? Iodinization of the sea to somehow reverse global warming. And they were talking about filling the sea with toxins. Like that would be a good idea. Yeah, forget about killing all the fish. Don't worry, it's a conspiracy theory that we need fish in the ocean. We don't need them anymore. We can print meat in a 3D printer. Hooray! Print a salmon. I mean, I shouldn't laugh, but that is already here. And the guy, what's his name? Oh, fuck. Joe Imbriani, or what's his name? I always get his name wrong. The guy Joe, he's got a YouTube channel. He's been quite quiet, but he's back. He's been back. And he posted a video, I think it was from a couple of years ago, and they were talking about a 3D printer that could print a fish that you could eat. All you do is you cut off a bit of your finger, right? Your skin, and then you put it into the fucking 3D printer. And then, hooray! There's a salmon. A salmon all flapping about in this 3D printer. I mean, if you've not seen it, then you need to check that out. because it's already there. So don't worry about the ocean anymore. We don't need it, right? Honestly, we've got 3D printers now that can print your dinner for you. Fucking, how the fuck did we get here, man? Honest to God, is this where we're at? Wow, insane. Absolutely insane. So, continued acidification from CO2 in the ocean. I mean, that's a guarantee, right? I mean, it's already happening, and the drought's already happening. This is all in motion already. Remember, this came out in 2009, and they have been spraying the shit out of the planet since way before then. Some people point to the 80s, even the 70s, but I think a guarantee is from the 90s, definitely. From 1990 onwards, like the guy said in the Arizona meeting, from about 1990, it got really bad. And they've been poisoning. I mean, we talk about the ocean, the soil, the plants, and us, of course. We have to breathe as well. We're being poisoned. Maybe that's why we live in such a spineless world now. People just don't give a fuck, man. They don't. Who cares, right? That's the kind of attitude we get. But of course, they only care if the media hypes them into a fucking frenzy. Like they did when, oh, there's a super duper variant. Ah! Run quickly. Roll up your sleeve. Have a free donut. Take your juice. Now fuck off home. And people done it in a frenzy. But when it comes to this, they do not want to hear it. It's the old ostrich putting its head up its fucking arse. They don't want to hear it. People don't care. Straight up, they do not care. Ozone depletion. Right. I think some of you might have seen the Bill Cooper ozone hoax. Climate change hoax, I think he called it. Along that lines. And he was talking about the ozone hole. That was quite funny because he was like, do you not notice there's always the hole in the ozone? It's always right above the Antarctic, I think he said, or the North Pole. And what they were saying, this is going back to the early 90s. They were pointing to all the pollution from a city, all the deodorant, all the factories. And he was saying, do you not think the hole would be above a city rather than above, I mean, the top of the earth? I thought the planet was all going this way and that way and spinning that way. Yet for some reason, the hole was always in the same place. And yet it wasn't above a major city or anything like that. It was above a place where there was no pollution. And he was like, how can that be? How can that be? I'm sure there'll be a scientific explanation, right? And you know how much we can trust scientists? Yay for science! Wait, what? Yeah. Fast forward to 2020. Yeah. The scientists, right? And some people don't know that there's a lot of folk who point to Russia. And of course, in Russia, they had their own super duper treatment. It was Sputnik. I mean, fuck it. Not the beep, 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 beep Sputnik in the sky, but Sputnik in your arm. Yeah. Roll up your sleeve. Get your Sputnik. Right? And people say, well, it doesn't seem to be as bad as everywhere else. So maybe it wasn't similar. But of course, the reality is you would have to stay in Russia to have any fucking idea of how bad it was or is. Sitting over here is useless. We hardly know what's going on here, never mind in Russia. But I do know one thing, and it's this. The main scientist behind the Sputnik super duper treatment, do you know what happened to him? Anybody want to take a crack at that? Let me jump back to the comments. Does anybody know what happened to him? Do you think he got juiced as well? I think it's quite telling, and I don't think many people are actually going to know, to be fair. Because it was only recently that I found out about it. Well, I'll tell you what happened. The main scientist behind the so-called Sputnik juice, no, it wasn't suicide. He got strangled to death in his own home. Strangled by someone who was clearly fucking angry. Now you do the maths on that, right? Why did that happen? I wonder. He got strangled, man. Someone took him out. The main head scientist behind it. They killed him. Why do you think that would have happened? Someone was clearly pissed at the guy. And people have pointed to excess deaths. I'm sorry, but it's bad everywhere, including Russia. And in Russia, they've been pointing to disease and, of course, the war. They even point to that. Well, it's because of the war. Yeah, nothing to do with the treatment. But to be fair to the Russians, they were a bit more skeptical than the fucking sheeple here. They seem to be a bit more switched on. Because a lot of them, they said, no way, man. I will not be taking that. But people say, well, I don't think Russia is in the whole New World Order club. I would disagree with that. I'd have to. And for the reasons being, they bent over to the pandemic. They bent over to COVID. They're bending over to even climate change itself. If they were not in the club, none of that would be going on. And of course, they always have to play one off the other. Otherwise, it's too obvious, right? It would be too obvious then. So there's always got to be the boogeyman or the other side of it. When in reality, they're in the same club. And they all bent over in lockstep to it, man. The whole lot. They all bent over to the COVID narrative. Each and every nation in the fucking world. They might have done things their own way, but they still bent over to it. If they weren't part of the club, they would have stuck 2 fingers up at the lot of it. For the scam that it fucking is. But that didn't happen. And if it did happen, they got taken out. And we actually did see that as well. When 1 or 2 heads of states, if you like, I think in particular in the Middle East, said, well, nah, we're not. Yeah, they got taken out. They smoke you out one way or another. No 2 ways about it. They've got that much control. You kind of can't escape from it. And if you don't bend over to it, then they replace you. Simple as that. They'll replace you, man. One way or another. The part of me kind of wishes that there was a part of the world that wasn't the same as NATO-stan. But I'd be kidding myself. And I think that scientist getting strangled to death, that said quite a lot. Someone was very unhappy with that guy. Well, why could that be? You do the mathematics, right? I'll tell you, there's a lot of people who would do that to the scientists here if they got a chance. Most definitely. They would. Of course they would. The people that have died, the people that have been seriously affected by this, their family in particular, are not happy. And that again coincides with this angrier world that we're heading into. And the World Economic Forum even talked about a hatred, a kickback on science. How did they see that coming? Of course they seen it coming. They knew people would be getting strangled to death in their own home, man. So yeah, some people, that might be news. I think it was only last year. I think the middle of last year or the end of last year, the guy got found in his own flat, strangled to death. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. But I guess we reap what we sow. We'll go with that. That's the world we're in. And the Russians don't fuck about, man. They do not fuck about. Honestly. I mean, people are quite bad here, but over there, they will fucking get you, man. They will get you. And someone clearly got a hold of that guy. So, ozone depletion. I thought we fixed the hole in it. Nah, it's back again. The hole is back again. Shock horror. It's never going away now until we get net zero. Let's go with that. Let me just sort this. Yeah, that's the wrong one. There we go. I'm so professional, right? What is he doing? What is he doing? I'm trying to sort this vape that I've got. It doesn't seem to be complying. Shocking. There you go. So, ozone depletion. I don't know what to make of that one, to be honest. The whole ozone scenario, I really don't know what to make of it. I kind of don't buy it, to be honest. All the ozone stuff you get is from NASA or NOAA, which is a branch of NASA, and they can't be trusted. In no way, shape, or form can they be trusted. How could you, man? You'd have to be off your head to trust NASA. Surely people don't trust NASA today. After everything that they've done. I mean, they're criminals, man. Absolute robbers. They should be wearing a fucking balaclava. Honest to God. The money they've stole. And the cheek of von Braun, the Nazi, who said early on, well, we're going to, NASA, in time to come, it'll be making profit. It won't be taking... What? Sorry, what? Will I tell him or will you, right? He must be turning in his grave now, von Braun. At all the money they've spent, man. And for what? Where's the justification in it? There's no justification whatsoever. And still to this day, billions, man, out of the taxpayer's pocket. It boggles the mind. Honest to God. I don't know how they get away with it. I really don't. But there you go. Year after year, time after time, they rob the American public. They're all getting fleeced. And even I mean, that's a scam that's spread across the world. You've got the European Space Agency. I mean, where do they get their money from? Fuck, probably Rockefeller. Of course, it'll be from the taxpayer's pocket. And now Britain have got their own wee space setups and rocket foundations and all that nonsense. I mean, where are they getting their money from? You've got Japan on the moon. Sure, why not? I mean, that one was comical as well. You've got India on the moon. Talk about priorities, right? I mean, who's next? The Faroe Islands have landed on the moon. Shock horror. I don't know. People fall for it, but I guess they've not got a choice. They've got to believe. How can that many people lie? That's one you hear quite a lot. Well, how can that many people lie, though? Yeah. They're not looking further than their nose, right? To think that. I mean, it's stupid to think that. But that's the world we're in. So, ozone depletion, sure, why not? That one is a biggie. And that's one we're already in. No more blue skies. As I highlight it in blue. This is one that, I mean, we're already seeing it more and more. Because, of course, it's already happening. But this is definitely one that will have a horrendous effect on people. So bad, I couldn't even begin to explain it. Honestly, this is one that really annoys me. I mean, who in the right of this planet has the brass neck to take away the blue sky from the people of this planet? Honestly, this is what I mean about them being the most scummiest, sickest people you could ever imagine, blocking out the sun and destroying the blue sky that we love, we crave, man. It makes us happy. We need it. It's like a lifeline, man. Well, you can kiss it goodbye, because it's fucking going rapid. We're already seeing that. Maybe not Dawn. Dawn's an exception. We all need to go there. But it's happening in the UK. No two ways about it. And I know that from my own experience and from other people that throughout the years I have been in discussion with regards to chemtrails. Because, I mean, it's bad here, but in England it's even worse, man. Especially over the highly populated areas. A lot of them say, a blue sky? What the hell is a blue sky? It's been that long. They can't remember what a blue sky is. We're already there. That's already happening, I'm afraid. So that is a risk that's somehow already happening, even though geoengineering's not started. Less solar power. Yeah, I guess that would happen when you block out the sun. And of course, that has many pros for them. Because a lot of people, when you, let's say for instance, you're off grid and you're relying on solar power, well, that might not be so reliable when there is no sun. It's complete dark out, a grey out, day in, day out, because net zero, hooray! We're achieving net zero by ruining everyone's fucking lives. What more could you ask for, right? So that's one that, yeah. I mean, how could you create less solar power? The only way you could do it is by blocking out the sun. And we depend on the sun. The plants, the trees, the animals, the whole fucking world depends on it. But oh no, of course, yeah. Net zero, hooray! Environmental impact of implementation. Right. I think overall, if you block out the sun and you fill the sky with horrendous toxins, there will be no environment. It's gonna kill everything, man. And unfortunately, if you don't know already, that wheel is in motion. I mean, look at the amount of stuff that's been dying out. Look at over the past decade, especially the birds that have been dying, the fishes that have been dying. Just randomly as well, seemingly. All these fish died randomly. All these birds just dropped out of the fucking sky. There's a lot where they point to when you look at different ecosystems in nature, they're dying out. And if they're not dying out, they're messed up. And at the moment they're saying, well, it could be microplastics that done it. But nothing to be said about the continuation of spraying in the sky. I would point to that more than anything. I mean, I can't rule out microplastics having a hand in it. But it could also be a cover. It could definitely be a cover. Oh, well, microplastics done it. It wasn't the spraying. That's a conspiracy theory. Right. So we keep an eye on the microplastic situation, but I can guarantee you they will blame that on a lot. And I can't rule it out being sort of a horrendous thing, even. Because they have pushed it. They've pushed it big time. And it would be everywhere. It would not just be in the ocean, in the animals, in the sea life. It's in us. Guaranteed. But it could also be the perfect cover. And at any given point, they could blame a microplastic situation when it's not. And I've said that for a couple of years now. We can't rule that out. Nothing can be ruled out. Except from the fact that they are poison in the sky. We see that with our own eyes, man. Day in, day out for fucking years now. How anybody can't see that, I do not know. And we do know what goes up must come down. And we'll be breathing that in. So I keep an eye on the microplastic stuff. We've covered that quite a lot in the past as well. Going back to maybe even 2020, we covered it. And it's I mean, I think even on my Facebook in about 2016, I put up a post and I said, if you have never heard of microplastics, you will. And I think we're now at a point where people are hearing about it. Micro what? Yeah. But ain't it funny that it's only an issue when they say it's an issue, if you know what I mean? So it's not been an issue up until they say it's an issue. But up until that point, it wasn't an issue. Do you see what I'm getting at? Probably not, right? Get him off! Get him off! How could he say that? But I think you'll understand it to an extent. It's kind of like the perfect cover for anything. I mean, if say tomorrow, heaven forbid, people started dropping dead all over the place, they could say, well, oh, it's microplastics, done it? When in reality, it could be a certain number of G or frequency, right? If you know what I'm saying. I mean, I could be way off the mark, but for me, it definitely has that feel of they could use it for anything. They could say, well, yeah, it was microplastics that done it. A bit like the whole COVID. Oh, well, COVID done it. Yeah, it was COVID that done it. He's got the long COVID now. He's got the long microplastic condition. Nothing to do with anything else, right? All we can be sure of is deception at each and every turn. So if they were to come out and say, yeah, by the way, microplastics done it, I would be very cautious of that. I wouldn't be able to put any weight behind it. but they certainly have put a lot of plastic out there. Not by accident either. But it will only be an issue when they decide it's going to be an issue. And that to me is quite telling. So let me see, what have we got here? Rapid warming if stopped. Yeah. We've touched on that before. Wait, what? Yeah, rapid warming if they stop it. And basically, kind of in short, what they've been saying is, right, when we start geoengineering, it must continue for fucking ever. Because if we stop at any point, things will be even worse than they were before. Not only that, there could be what they call a termination shock, which would cause an absolutely extreme, the extremest of extremes weather event, which could range from any side of the scale. Complete heating where you fucking burst into flames on the spot, or the other end where you freeze to death, to the point where if you fell over, you would shatter into a million pieces. That sort of freezing. That's what they've referred to in termination shock. And I mean, if that was to be the case, holy moly. What film is that in again? I think Snowpiercer. Or is it Geostorm, actually? Funnily enough. The movie Geostorm. The people freeze on the spot. And one of them, their arm falls off and shatters into a million bits. That's what, basically, going by what they've said, that could be what a termination shock would be like. If they went ahead with geoengineering, it got stopped because of, I don't know, a phony war, and the planes couldn't go up, it would seemingly have a seriously bad effect. And I mean, I wouldn't rule it out, but they could do anything with the technology they've got and say, well, it's because of a termination shock. It wasn't HARP. It wasn't the military that done it. It was the termination shock that done it. And going ahead with geoengineering gives them the opportunity to do such a thing. And they could annihilate a whole nation, probably, by either burning them to death or freezing them to death. And I mean, if you thought it was cold here already, just wait, right? And again, this is on the termination shock. If you go back 10, 20 years, it was a thing in a science fiction book. Now, fast forward to today, it's becoming a reality, basically. And they're saying it's a risk. It's a big risk if they ever terminate geoengineering at the wrong time. I mean, how could it even go on forever? It couldn't go on forever. It would be impossible for it to go. I mean, what do they want the world to be like? How do they see us ever getting out of the position that we're in by filling the air with more toxins? How could that even compute as being sense? It's totally insane, man. Honest to God. It has to be stopped. We cannot let them go ahead with this. And, I mean, I talk about leading by example, so maybe that's what we'll have to do, right? Yeah. Rather than running away to a nice place, we'll have to fight whatever it is head on. So rapid warming if stopped, which that is a termination shock. And it could be any end of the scale. And the only thing I can compare it to is the movie Geostorm. So if you've not seen Geostorm, don't watch it. Don't watch it, right? And if you do, that'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So they cannot stop effects quickly. Oh, bugger. So what's the point then? Not only that, they talk about how, oh, it's not, we didn't fix it. It's not going to fix anything. What? Yeah, it would be like a band-aid. I shouldn't laugh, but that's what they've said. Yeah, if you think of it like a bit like a band-aid, it would be like that. It wouldn't fix climate change. Of course it wouldn't. It would make it fucking worse. That would be the bottom line. And even just one of these risks, in my own view, is enough to completely scrap it, bury it, burn it, and never see it again. But I can guarantee you, we will see it. I mean, we're already seeing it. Number 9, human error. Ah, yeah. The doting human. Whoops. I just froze half of the UK. We just flooded France by accident. I pushed the wrong button. So, yeah, I guess what could you do to avoid human error? Anybody? Let me jump back to the comments. There we go. We're still here. We're still going. We're not far away now, right? We might be falling asleep, but we're still going. Oh, cheers, Justine. The beautiful Justine. Thank you. Yeah, it gets my blood going. I'll be awake all night now. Raging, having mad dreams. Yeah, that'll be a guarantee. Nightmares. So yeah, I guess yep, there you go, Nick. Nick's got it in one. They would switch it into the hands of AI. Hooray! Forget the humans, we don't need them anymore. AI's gonna do it. AI knows what to do. Yeah, destroy everyone. Take everyone out. Fuck it, freeze the whole world, right? We'll be reborn as AI androids. I shouldn't laugh. But yeah, that would be my guess as well. And if they do go ahead with it, and there is human error, they are going to hand it to AI. And ain't it fitting, right? How AI is now all the rage as this gets even closer and closer. Ain't that a coinky dink? Will we call it that? Of course, there is no such thing as a coincidence. This is planned, man. Many, many years in advance. More years than I would care to even comprehend. In fact, I dread to imagine how long it's been in the pipeline for. I really do. So yeah, of course, if we get human error, you can be guaranteed AI's going to step in and push everyone out the way. Nope. Boston Dynamics has took over geoengineering. Yikes. Unexpected consequences. Yeah. Because, as I mentioned before, basically, geoengineering is robbing Peter to pay Paul. So when you rob Peter to pay Paul, Paul gets rich. He's alright. Poor Peter's not, though. He's down and out. He's going to be starving to death, man. And in the case of geoengineering and weather modification, you could portray that as while one country gets good weather, another country does not. So that could be any end of the scale, from flooding, severe flooding, to severe heat. And anything in between, but in a severe manner. That's the unexpected consequences, which would probably most certainly happen. Because when it comes to, in particular, stratospheric aerosol injection, you cannot please everyone. Someone's going to pay. Someone's going to suffer. Guaranteed. That's probably the whole aim for it, to be honest. Commercial control. Yeah, I mean, they've talked about that as an issue, but I see it more being in the hands of nations and militaries. I think the commercial side of it will play a part, but it won't have control. I think it'll be more a political situation. And I've even read that it could become that political that geoengineering could be the difference between winning or losing an election. So it will be politicised. No two ways about it. And of course, the commercial psychotic psychopaths, they'll be there rubbing their hands. Yay, we're going to make a lot of money here. We're going to make a killing, right? Military use of technology. I think that would be more the case, to be honest. It's going to be in the hands of the military industrial complexes of the world. And I've talked about it before. When this does happen, and it is in the control of politicians and militaries, not only is it going to cause issues with the weather, it could potentially even cause war, all-out war. And I think we pointed to, I mean, it's going back a couple of years now, but the likes of India and Pakistan, if one of them start geoengineering, the other one's going to suffer. And the one that does suffer, it won't be happy. It will not be happy. And they already hate each other. I mean, they're always at war. And I know they hate each other because I've spoke to, in particular, Pakistani individuals who say, yeah, they fucking hate each other big time. I mean, they hate each other more than they hate white people, which is pretty much unheard of, to be honest, but they do. And if one of them starts geoengineering, there will be big trouble. Guaranteed. They'll be shooting down planes and all sorts. I can kind of see it now. Hey, touch wood, it doesn't happen and we don't get there. But I'd be kidding myself, to be honest. It's already in the pipeline. Conflicts with current treaties. Again, yeah, you can look at Pakistan and India. Is there any treaties left in the world? They kind of seem to they've all been scrapped, right? Nobody's friends anymore. And yeah, you could see that happening. I guess the UK, Europe, the Nordic part of the world, and the European part of the world. Because when it comes to geoengineering, not everybody wins. No way, man. I mean, in my view, there will be no winner, but someone's going to lose out. And the people that do, they will not be happy. Guaranteed. Whose hand on the thermostat? Yeah, who's going to control it? We talked about this as well. Who's going to be the one that makes the decisions? And this will coincide with the fact that governments of the world are pretty much in reset. So who's going to step up to the plate? It'll be the shadow government. It'll be the one world government. That could be the only option to satisfy a global sort of society. Because people will say, well, Why should Britain control it? Or why should America control it? Why should India control it? Why should it be Australia that controls it? And you'll always get that no matter what. So the only solution's going to be, what we'll do is we'll elect a world body, a one world system, and they can control it. And I said that years ago now. That's what will happen. And it will coincide with the reset of governments as we know them. Mark my words, man. It will happen. It's in the pipeline. It can be the only solution to it. Because no matter who has the thermostat, people are going to say, well, why do they have it? We should have it. So there's only one solution to that. And it's either a one world government or a one world AI body that calls the shots. What other solution can there be? And it would be perfect for the powers that be. It's basically their wet dream, their wettest of dreams. And it's all coming too. You can see it all coming together. Unfortunately, it's happening, man. It's in the pipeline. Ruin terrestrial optical astronomy. Oh yeah, that's a guarantee. Not only will they block out the blue sky, they block out the night sky. So if you like looking at stars, make the fucking most of it. Because it'll be gone. Not only that, on top of that, you're going to have the whole OneWeb Starlink satellites that will completely block out the night sky. And I made a video on that 4 years ago now. And I called it Kiss the Night Sky Goodbye. Now, you might know of Starlink as, oh, it's like a train in the sky. Yeah, it is at the moment. But the end game is thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. Upwards of 60,000. Now picture that above your head, beaming fucking bright, radiating. And it won't be just Starlink. The British government and OneWeb are in on it. They want their own one. So how many is there actually going to be? I dread to even imagine how many there's going to be. And I dread to imagine the dangers that come along with these kill grids, which is what they'll be. So there'll be no night sky, there'll be no blue sky. Hey, we get all the good news here, right? You can see why people don't want to touch it. I'm not touching that. It's terrible. You're right, it's terrible. But we can't beat about the bush, man. We've got to be open and honest with ourselves first and foremost. Now, people can bury their head in the sand. So be it. Ignorance is bliss. But that won't be me. No way, man. I'll do my best, God granted, to stop any of this while I can. This is not a world I want for anybody. I wouldn't even wish it on my worst enemy. And if things weren't bad enough, it looks like they might get... I mean, could they get any worse, to be honest? I'm unsure, but I guess we're heading in that way. Moral hazard. The prospect of it working would reduce drive for mitigation. Oh, we don't want that, do we? Of course, you know what that would mean, right? Basically, what that means is, you know how everyone's doing their bit to help the planet, save the planet, get net zero? Well, what they reckon is, if they start geoengineering, people are going to stop doing that. People are going to be like, well, what's the point? The aircrafts are here to save the day. So they won't be so keen to I guess, not drive to work, not go on holiday. But of course, by the time this comes, that will be a thing of the past. Because you'll own nothing, and unbelievably, you'll be happy. Work that one out. And again, this is all coming in lockstep, all coinciding. No two ways about it. So, yeah, preventing mitigation on a personal level, or doing your bit for mitigation on a personal level today is one thing. 10 years from now, it's going to be different. And of course, aircraft's falling out the sky. No one wants to go on holiday anymore. Countries in disarray. Holidays are out the window. Electric cars coming in. Petrol and diesel motors even getting fucking banned left, right and centre. So doing your bit just now, or the sheeple doing his bit just now, is one thing. But in time to come, there will not be the option. Because they're taking them all away. We're in that. That is in motion now. And if you can't see that, fuck, you would never see it. And finally, number 17 on the risk list. 17. And that's not even all of them. I could add more to that. So we've got 17 risks. And how many so-called benefits? 6. 6 of them. And this is going to go ahead. Guaranteed. This is going to go ahead, man. Moral authority. Do we have the right to do this? Good question. Because the answer to that is no. They don't. Short and simple. They don't have the right. Nobody's got the right to do it. Who do these people think they are, man? They would be lined up with the media and the politicians if it was up to me. Because they do not have the right. None of them do. Nobody does. That's the bottom line. But hey, I guess morals in the world that we're in today, that's out the window, right? There is no morals now. Not for the powers that be. And it's kind of heartbreaking. I pretty much base my life on good morals and traditions. Two things that are being annihilated. Absolutely annihilated, man. Even here in this wee town that I'm in. Morals are out the window. Traditional values. Finished. So the answer to that would be no. And I don't think anybody would disagree. They don't have the right. Who do they think they are, man? Even one of these risks is enough to scrap it. At least in my view. But it's going ahead. I'm sorry to say it, but it will happen. And I reckon pretty much every one of these risks is already in motion. I'm afraid to say. Let me see if I can quickly find something before we wrap it up, because we're cracking on now. We're going to be hours and hours and hours. We don't want that. I mean, I try and make it as quick as I can, but it's bloody hard. Oh, a space elevator. Yeah, fucking hell. Yeah, that's what we'll do, a space elevator. And we'll shoot toxins into space in Willy Wonka's elevator. There's an idea, right? I'm not going to find it now, am I? Artillery shells, there you go. Yeah. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right? Dust would be injected into the stratosphere. Hooray! I mean, it's absolutely insane, man. Yeah, that's a great idea. Of course, you know who would like that? The whole military-industrial complex would like that. Yeah, that would make a lot of money for them. Of course it would. So they'll be advocating for that. Definitely. Let me see. Yeah. Options for dispersing gases from planes include the addition of sulfur to fuel. Huh. Right. Ain't that interesting, right? Options for dispersing gases from planes include the addition of sulfur to fuel, which would release the aerosol through the exhaust system of the plane. Is that not correct? Yes, that is chemtrails. The old conspiracy theory, or the attachment of a nozzle to release the sulfur from its own tank within the plane. Which seemingly would be a better option, right? Yeah. Interesting, that one. I don't think I'm going to find it now. There we go. So the military has already manufactured more planes than would be required for this geoengineering scenario, potentially reducing the costs of this method. Since climate change is an important national security issue, the military could be directed to carry out this mission with existing aircraft at minimal additional cost. Shock, horror. Now, I think it's worth bearing in mind, this came out in 2009. Far from yesterday. Of course, it's already happening. It's been happening. I shouldn't laugh, but it's been happening for decades now. I hate to say it, but it has. And this document gives away quite a lot. I'll show you the name again in case anybody wants to check it out. You can find it on ResearchGate. I don't know if that's... I think it's worldwide, ResearchGate. So the benefits, risks, and costs of stratospheric geoengineering. And it came out, like I said, 2009. And here it is on ResearchGate. Geophysical Research Letters, October 2009. So I thought it was worth sharing. I mean, we've covered the risks and stuff quite a lot, but it's been a while since we looked into it. So I wanted to kind of refresh it. And I can see why people don't want to talk about it. You can see why, right? I mean, it's not good. It is not good, man. No two ways about it. People would rather... They'd rather not know, basically. I guess they could say, well, what can we do about it? What's the answer? And that would be the $64 million question. What can you do about it? I think non-compliance would be a fucking start. Stop voting, man. Stop playing part in the circus. That's what we're in. Stop attending the circus. Don't bother voting. You know, I think it's always funny how people say, oh, well, if you don't vote, it's your fault what happens. Oh, right, yeah, sure. Like the voting's not rigged anyway. Even if nobody fucking voted, they would still go ahead with what they've got planned. Guaranteed. I mean, it would take a lot to stop them. because it's not directed by a nation. It's not as simple as that. It's not the UK government that's doing this. It's the powers that be. And of course, they're well hidden behind the faces like politicians or even the likes of Bill Gates. People think he runs the show. He doesn't run the show, man. If he did, you wouldn't even know him. He's a face. That's it. He's got no power, no influence. And people find that hard to buy. But mark my words, he does not run the show. These so-called multi-billionaires and faces of the agenda, that's all they are, a face, man. The real people, the real puppet master, you don't see his face. No way, they wouldn't give it away. People like Gates and Musk and Bezos, they're the faces. They're not the people that run the show, I'm afraid. And I mean, I can't believe some people think Musk is a good guy. I mean, fuck it hell. Oh yeah, he's big on free speech. Yeah. No, he's not. Oh, he's big on this, he's big on that. Yeah, you might say some things, but he's not a good guy, I'm sorry. None of them are good guys. The only good comes from individuals like me and you. That's the last fucking good left in the world. Apart from that, they're all out to say, not to save themselves, but to become basically like gods among sheep. That's what they are. So we'll jump back into the chat before we wrap it up. We're 3 hours now. So quite a stretch, right? It was like a life sentence, that. Is anybody still here? We've still got people. Linda's in the hood as well. Good to see you, Linda. Back again. A pleasure to have you. Budgie still here. The Budgie Burger. Climate change is now your parents. Go to your pod. No bugs for you tonight. Not even bed bugs, right? Yeah, you'll be eating bed bugs before you know it. Catching them at night. What a horrid thought, right? Oh man. Yeah, I shouldn't laugh. But hey, I guess if you don't laugh, you'll probably cry. It's a crazy world that we're in. So it's good to see Budgie. The 77th Brigade, I should watch what I'm saying. We have a regiment that fires artillery rounds in the air. We'll let you make up your own mind about that one. Is that where you live? Yeah, I wonder if they're already doing that for the Save the Planet. Let's achieve net zero by blowing up the sky. Yeah, I mean, where I'm at, it's mostly, there is a military base, but the biggest base is the Royal Air Force. But there's not much in the way of artillery. There's a lot of air activity, a serious amount. But I know if you go further north, they use basically the very top of Scotland. It's like a shooting range, basically. So maybe it goes on up there. I wouldn't rule that out. And that's always something that annoyed me. Even going back about 10 years, I used to say to people, well, why are they using Scotland as a fucking shooting range? Blowing up the coast and dropping bombs into the sea? And they had this whole war game scenario that they have here. And I used to be like, well, take it elsewhere. Why the fuck? Why? We don't want it. And even going back to about 2013, 2014, just before the independence stuff. So 2013, there was talk about the military base closing down. And people were like, no, keep it open. The jobs and all the jobs in the economy. And I was the only person in Elgin who said, well, actually, close it down. shut it down. And people were like, what? How can you say that? And now people are worried because the whole war scenario is brewing. And they're saying, oh, well, we live right next to a military base. Ah! And I'm like, well, what did I tell you? The best idea? Close it fucking down. But no, people fought and begged to keep it open. And now it's expanding again and is potentially at this very moment one of the biggest air bases in Europe on our doorstep. And people wanted that, man. They wanted it. And honest to God, I kid you not, I was about the only person in Murray who said, well, actually, close it down. We don't own it. It doesn't belong to us. We have no control over it whatsoever. And people said, but the economy, the jobs, Yeah, well, there was no cry about that when they locked the whole fucking place down. That didn't matter then, right? Yeah, but COVID, of course. So, I mean, a lot of people have said, well, what did I say? What did I tell you? Close it down. Close it down and turn it into a wildlife sanctuary. That's what I said. Then we can control it. And it would bring jobs. And it would bring tourism into the economy. But no. People wanted it there. A military base. And of course, back then, there wasn't much talk about World War III. Fast forward to today, people are genuinely fucking worried. So much so, a lot of people now are thinking about moving away. Yet they fought to keep the camp open. So there you go. The typical sheeple, right? Honestly, I got laughed at and mocked when I said close it down. And now look who's laughing. Of course, I'm not laughing to an extent, but I am kind of saying, well, what did I tell you, man? It could be no good or benefit whatsoever to having it right on your doorstep, man. Honestly. And now people are worried about it because, Russia's going to blow us up. But maybe it's not such a bad thing. No, she didn't say that. We can start again, right? I don't know. I mean, even when you look through war, different war scenarios, the right places never seem to get bombed. There seems to be this unwritten rule where, no, we won't bomb the fuck out of your military bases. We'll just bomb some poor bugger in their housing scheme. Like, there's nothing strategic about it whatsoever. So, I don't know. Maybe this is the right place to be staying. Maybe it won't get bombed, but hey, I wouldn't rule anything out in this world that we're in. It's a crazy world, man. Anything can happen at any given time. So, a lot of it you can't stop, in my own view. And people get annoyed with that. How can you say that? We can stop it. Well, you can try. Don't get me wrong. There's no harm in trying. But the best thing to do is be prepared. Be prepared for any given scenario and be ready to soften the blow. Say, if the war was to start, blackout, no food, no electricity, are you prepared? What have you got? Will you last a fucking day? And a lot of people at the moment, they wouldn't. They wouldn't even last a couple of days, man. And it wouldn't take long for a small so-called civilized society to fall to bits, man. In the sense of a blackout or a war situation. No electricity, no gas, no food, no water. How many people are going to survive that? It would be mayhem. So what I say to people is, look, forget about it, but be prepared. Mentally and I guess physically. and I tend to point to, look, be prepared for 7 days of not mayhem, but living off grid to an extent. So 7 days of whatever it is you need to get by, and only you as an individual know. Only you'll know what you need. So only you know what to have stocked up, put away, ready in the case of blackout, war situation, societal breakdown. Because we're now in a position where I think the World Economic Forum called it a polycrisis. Multiple crises could happen at once. And I mean, none of that can be ruled out. So that's what I say. I say, well, if we're not going to stop it, what can you do? Be prepared. Soften the blow. Get yourself ready. Get stocked up on the stuff that you need. And carry on with your life. With your head held high. When shit hits the fan, you're going to be able to soften the blow. And I always emphasize on, hey, don't tell anyone what you've got. Don't tell anyone what you're doing. Do not draw any attention to yourself if this situation occurs, because the wolves will come. And if you ain't prepared for that, they'll fucking rob you blind. They'll take the lot, man. So I always put emphasis on, you don't tell anyone. You go about it and you do it in your own way. And you keep it to yourself. Otherwise, people will come knocking. And if shit does hit the fan, lock yourself away, man. Keep everything locked. And unless it's someone you know, do not answer the door to anyone. And have a bit of, I want to say protection. Have a bit of protection if you can. Anything in the way of a boiling pot of water. It sounds a bit grim, but even that, if someone was at your door and you could go at the window above them, that'll fucking soon chase them away. But you really need to be able to protect yourself if shit does hit the fan. So anything in the way of a weapon would be a good idea. But again, all that needs to be kept to yourself. You don't tell anyone, not even your next door neighbour, unless you're on really good terms with them. You keep it all to yourself, and hopefully you can power on through whatever comes. I mean, if you're not prepared mentally and physically for whatever's going to happen, you'll lose your mind, man. You will lose your mind. Honestly. I mean, people are losing their minds already, even at the thought of war or some kind of crisis. And I kind of seen it. There was in this area, I don't know if it's happening across Scotland, but they've been putting out leaflets, and some of them have been coming from the electricity board, and it's been telling people, look, be prepared. It's been warning them that they might need to stock up on items. And people have been like, what the heck? Did you get this through your door? And they're like, what the fuck's going on here? Yeah. Be prepared. I mean, even the warnings are coming from the top now. And in my own view, you won't stop it. I mean, for stopping this sort of shit was fucking 20 years ago, man. If not longer. Now it's all about, what's the right word? I guess minimalising the effect that it's going to have on you. So you don't fear it. You don't fear anything. But you try and be as prepared as you can, especially if you've got family, man. You've got to. You've got to look out for them. I mean, I personally couldn't even really care about myself. If I stayed on my own, I'd probably be in the wolf pack out in the street looking to see whatever I could get. But I'm not. I've got kids and a wife. So it's them that I need to protect. It's them that I need to look after. And that's what I will be doing if shit does hit the fan. And if anybody comes calling unwanted, it'll be the last fucking call they make. Guaranteed. Guaranteed, man. I will. There is. Hey, when it comes to protecting my family, there's nothing I will not do. Because they are my priority. No two ways about it. And nothing gets in between that. No man or no thing. And I do not fear anyone or any situation, but I am prepared. Because I know the world we're in. I know they could pull anything at any given fucking minute. So that's kind of what I've been warning people. In particular, the last year. They're like, oh, what about this? What about the war? Well, you won't stop it. What, do you think signing a petition's going to fucking stop it? Really? Of course it won't. Nothing would stop it. If the powers that be have it in line, it'll happen. I wish we could stop it by signing a petition. Maybe we can vote them out. Maybe if we vote them out and if we vote in this guy, then it'll all be okay again. Yeah. Sure, let's go with that. So what I'll do is I'll wrap it up. Let me see if I can find a tune. What did I play? Bad Moon Rising. A great song, right? Funny that it came out in 1969. There's a Bad Moon Rising. Yeah, 1969. What happened then again? Can't remember. I'm sure something happened then. I think I know what one I'll play. I've got a good one. So let me see. We'll say cheerio. Any thoughts on about the failed Trident missile? Yeah, Trident's an interesting one. I've been keeping an eye on from time to time, I've been watching Flight Radar. I signed up to it. I'm like a silver membership to it. And I have noticed there's a lot of activity at Trident in Scotland. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But there's a lot of air activity. In fact, the whole of Scotland at the moment appears to be on high alert. The whole nuclear thing, I mean, I can't rule anything out, but I can't see it going nuclear. I mean, the Trident's another thing people have been fighting to get rid of for fucking decades, and it's still there. It's not even owned by Scotland or even Britain. As far as I know, it's America that have got the finger on the button there. I doubt it would even work, to be honest. It's probably now run by LBGTQPXYZ clan, so it would likely blow up Scotland before anything. But yeah, I didn't see anything about tests, to be honest, but I have noticed high activity with the Royal Air Force there. So yeah, I wouldn't rule out some kind of event in Scotland or in the UK. And if there is an event, whether it be, let's say, a false flag or something in that lines, people are going to fucking shite it. Honestly. People will lose their mind, guaranteed. I can see that happening. So I hope it doesn't. But at the moment, the military, I've been keeping a close eye on them. I mean, I hear them every day. They were busy today, man. Really busy. Constant. So I don't know. I wouldn't rule anything out with Trident, to be honest. But good to see you. 77th, I think. Good to have you here, I think, right? Yeah, a pleasure. Hopefully you can catch us next time. Budgie Burger as well. A pleasure to see you back again. Yeah, good song, good band. I guess they don't make music like that anymore. I mean, the music today, I don't even think you can call it music. You get the odd good song once in a blue moon. but maybe music is in the reset as well. Linda as well. Linda Hunter. I love the name Hunter. So it's good to see you. Australia in the hood, fantastic. Robert as well, Big Rob, back again. Good to see you. DJ in the hood, my Invernessian brother. George Floyd, yeah, fuck, don't get me started. Yeah, what did you call him again? I can't remember now. Something Floyd. It'll come to me. I'll be lying in my bed. Oh, that's what he said. I think I'm joining you on. Is it this Sunday on Scott's Armour? I should have had the link. If you can put that in, that would be great. The beautiful Justine, always a pleasure. I think I might be on again on the original. In fact, probably not. I'm quite busy from now till Monday. So it'll be probably next week, to be honest. So yeah, great to see you, DJ. Yeah, no, I won't be getting involved with politics. That's for sure. Yeah, people just need to have a bit more authority over their lives. To be fair, stop depending on politicians to change stuff. But I mean, I know DJ knows the score, but too many people don't, and they think that they can change it by voting someone else in. I mean, it's comical. What have they not learned anything from history? I shouldn't laugh, but there you go. So yeah, good to see everyone. What I'll do is I'll find a tune because we're cracking on now. Let me see. Yeah, I think I'll play the Jacobite tune. I quite like it. I like my folk sort of. Could I call it folk? I guess it is folk music. We'll give it a try. I think I played it before once. It's not the one I used to play, so it's a different version. So some people might not have heard it, but yeah, it's been a pleasure. So I think I'll be live with Scott's Armour. I'm sure it's this Sunday. I might have to double check, but if I'm not, no, if I am even, I'll share it on my community tab, and I'll see you there. And then after that, I reckon I'll be back on the probably not Monday because I'll be watching Sensum probably, and then on Tuesday maybe I'll be watching John. So maybe not then. In fact, is the movie review this Friday as well? I need to check my diary. Otherwise, I'm going to miss it. But hey, I'll let you know when I'm going to be back. And we'll chat again. It might just be a bit of a catch-up. Although, there is quite a few bits I want to get into. More stuff on space, the moon landing. And, fuck, what else was it? I can't remember now. Something else. There's something else I wanted to cover. What was it again? I'm unsure, but hey, again, that'll come to me when I'm in my bed. But yeah, you know where to find it. All the latest stuff is usually in the community tab. The videos will keep coming. We're still here. We're still going. And like I always say, do not live in fear. Don't do it. Eradicate it. Don't let anybody get in your way. And like I always say, no matter what, no matter where, do not comply. And that is about it.
Ye Jacobites by name, lend an ear, lend an ear. Ye Jacobites by name, lend an ear. Ye Jacobites by name, your thoughts I will proclaim, your doctrines I mun blame. Ye shall hear, your doctrines doctrines I'm and blame, ye shall hear what is right and what is wrong by the law, by the law. What's right and what is wrong by the law? What is right and what is wrong? A short sword and a lang, a weak arm and a strang, for to draw, for to draw. A weak arm and a strang, for to draw. What makes heroic strife? Famed afar, famed afar. What makes heroic strife? Famed afar. What makes heroic strife? To whet the assassin's knife, or hunt a parent's life with bloody war, bloody war. Or hunt a parent's life with bloody war. Then let your schemes alone in the state, in the state. Then let your schemes alone in the state. Then let your schemes alone and adore the rising sun, and leave a man undone to his fate, to his fate. And leave a man undone to his fate. Ah, ye Jacobites by name, lend an ear, lend an ear. Ye Jacobites by name, lend an ear. Ye Jacobites by name, your faults I will proclaim, your doctrines I and blame, ye shall hear.